Chapter 440. Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. Qing Su stood in the creation hall that represented the pinnacle of power in the creation mystical sect and slowly looked down. Accompanying him were the Primordial Chaos Holy Master, Ancestor Qi Wu, Ancestor Nan Shun, and the other peak existences of the three sections. As for Zhou Kunlun, Wen Hui, Zhu Xian, and the other sect masters, they quickly retreated to their respective sects and led the people of their sects to attack the scattered resistance forces of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect as quickly as possible, doing their best to dismember the colossus that was the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. The Create Evolve Mysterious Sect occupied close to half of the Eastern Wasteland continent. Most of the natural treasures in the Eastern Wasteland continent were in the hands of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. Because of this, the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect was able to nurture over 100 prominent Saint Stage experts, which was a few times more than the other Saint sects. These natural treasures were of the utmost importance. It was related to whether or not the middle levels of their Saint sects would be able to cultivate to the Spirit Qi as 1, Green Hell Stage and other higher levels. As long as the number of Spirit Qi as 1 and Green Hell Stage experts increased, how many prominent Saint Stage Supreme Elders would there be? Qing Su stood at the position that symbolized the apex of the creation mystical sect for a while as his thoughts fluctuated. 8 years, almost 9 years. He had been in this world for almost 9 years. 9 years. He was getting closer and closer to the promise of 10 years. However, his goal of shattering the void was still far away. Moreover, as his cultivation increased, his horizons broadened. He also understood that the shattering void realm did not mean that he would definitely be able to return home. The key to whether he could return to Earth or not was the ancient god Jun's cave dwelling that he had encountered in eastern Qian. Or rather, the mysterious runes on the Fortune mainland that resembled the ancient teleportation array. From the looks of it, I'll have to make a trip to the Fortune mainland after my cultivation increases. I'll gather all the power of the Fortune mainland and comprehend those mysterious runes as soon as possible. I'll be able to recreate the mysterious transmission array in ancient god Jun's cultivation cave. Only then will I be able to return safely. Tsing Hui muttered in his heart. Supreme Elder Tsing Hui, we found the secret treasury of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. We're waiting for you to open it personally. At this time, Tang Sun, an elder from the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, suddenly walked in and reported. Good. Tsing Hui nodded. He had been curious about the treasury of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect for a long time. Hunyuan Saint, Ancestor Qi Wu, Ancestor Nan Shun, follow me. Towards the end, Qing Su even said something to the three of them. Calculating the time, Zhu Zhao's disciples Remnant Sword, and Nailan Fei would have to rely on the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, the Jin Religion, and the Green Lotus Sword Sect. When the time came, they would When that time came, they would have to leave. Sect, and even Nailan Fei would have to rely on the sect. At that time, sect. Since Supreme Elder Tsing Hui has invited us, it would be impolite for us to refuse. Hunyuan Saint and the other two elders looked at each other and smiled in unison. Under Tang Sun's lead, the group of 4 went directly to the deepest part of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect and stopped in a cave. At this time, Yuan Bei and the other true energy boundary experts were guarding the cave. When they saw Tsing Hui and the others, the 4 true energy boundary experts disregarded their seniority and status and hurriedly stepped forward to greet Tsing Hui. Supreme Elder Tsing Hui. Supreme Elder Tsing Hui, you're here. This is the secret treasury of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. We immediately notified the elders when we found this place, but we haven't entered yet. The Grand Elder explained this to avoid any misunderstandings. After all, the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect could be said to have been conquered by Tsing Hui alone. The experts of the 3 great sects could only be regarded as icing on the cake at best. If they rashly opened the secret treasury before Tsing Hui would misunderstand that the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect wanted to occupy the secret treasury first and cause a series of misunderstandings. That would be terrible. Tsing Hui smiled and said to the others, "Thank you for your trouble. Now, open the secret treasury." "I'll do it." You guys continue to guard outside and don't let anyone in. Primordial Chaos Holy Master said as he stepped forward and pushed open the 10-meter-tall door that was embedded in the mountain wall. As the door opened, many neatly distributed treasures suddenly appeared in front of him. Supreme Elder Tsinghui, please. Hunyuan Saint stood at the door and gestured to Tsinghui. The three of you, please. Tsinghui nodded slightly and stepped into the secret treasury. Hunyuan Saint, Ancestor Qi Wu and Ancestor Nen Shun followed closely behind. As the number 1 sect in the Eastern Wilderness, the Create Evolve Mysterious sect possessed countless treasures, which could be seen from the full treasury in front of them. The entire treasury was divided into various categories, such as ores, spiritual items, herbs, divine weapons, armors, secret manuals, and so on. Furthermore, none of the items were below the 6th grade. Even these 6th grade treasures were considered to be extremely rare items. When Tsinghui scanned these treasures, he naturally chose some valuable ones and put them into his personal storage space. As for the rest, he let Hunyuan Saint, Ancestor Qi Wu and Ancestor Nen Shun choose apart. The rest was naturally left for Nailan Fei. Although his personal storage space of the 8th grade could move all these things in one go, he was about to go to the Infinite Wasteland region. The 6th and 7th grade ores, herbs, spirit objects, and weapons were no longer as important to him as before. The Create Evolve Mysterious sect has collected a lot of good things. There are also many 10th grade spirit objects. It has made up for the consumption of the cast bean soldiers. Tsinghui put many spirit objects into his personal storage space one by one. He was quite satisfied with the secret treasury of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. After spending some time in the area of spirit objects, ores, and weapons, Hunyuan Saint, Ancestor Qi Wu and Ancestor Nen Shun all obtained things that satisfied them. Tsinghui was also in a good mood because he had replenished a large number of spirit objects. Soon, they came to the area where the Create Evolve Mysterious sect had collected many secret techniques and ancient books. In the history of the Eastern Wasteland world, there were many powerful sections. Some of them also had chaos organizations with powerful figures behind them. Unfortunately, due to various reasons, they declined or were directly destroyed by the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. Just like the 9 great sacred sections. If the Limitless Sword sect did not have the support of Jianing, it would not take long for the Create Evolve Mysterious sect to destroy us one by one. Even though the Limitless Sword sect had Jianing behind them, as long as the Create Evolve Mysterious sect has the array of formations in the Wonderful Mountain Range, they will be invincible. They will eventually be able to exhaust and defeat the 9 great sacred sects one by one. With the accumulation of countless sects destroyed, the Create Evolve Mysterious sect has many ancient books and secret techniques. Hunyuan Saint sighed sincerely as he looked at the well-preserved ancient books piled up on the bookshelves. These ancient books that could be carefully preserved in the Create Evolve Mysterious sect often represented the existence and history of a top sect. Unfortunately, with the demise of these large sects one by one, the only things left behind were these few ancient books. Tsinghui flipped through the many ancient books. Most of these ancient books were about various spiritual beasts and sacred beasts' bloodline cultivation methods. There were very few ancient books that reached the divine scripture level. Even if there were 1 or 2 of them, they were only limited to the immortality realm. They were useful for reference but not practical. However, some of the secret techniques recorded were quite useful. Unfortunately, these secret techniques were focused on the immortality realm. Tsinghui found a secret technique that could be useful for Saint Realm cultivators. It was a Golden Core Realm Cultivators, Golden Core Realm Cultivators, Golden Core Realm Cultivators, Golden Core Realm Cultivator. Compared to never-ending Realm Cultivators, Golden Elixir Realm Cultivators had a rather distinct characteristic, and that was that they could use their Golden Elixir to condense the energy in their bodies into a single point, continuously accumulating energy, and completely exploding this energy when fighting with their enemies. Although the Golden Core Realm was 1 realm higher than the Never-Ending Realm, it only increased lifespan. In a life and death battle, it was not impossible for 3 Never-Ending Realm cultivators to suppress a Golden Core Realm cultivator. Relying on this explosive power, a golden core realm cultivator could instantly defeat a never-ending realm cultivator. In this way, a 3-on-1 would become a 2-on-1, and the golden core realm cultivator would be able to gain the upper hand. The secret technique in front of him was to increase the power of the golden core realm cultivator's attack. If used properly, it could even kill a never-ending realm cultivator. The only drawback was that it would damage the golden core. In the future, it would require some effort to recuperate the golden core. However, this bit of damage was nothing to Tsing Hui, who had the 10th order recovery ability. Heaven and Earth Strike? Tsing Hui memorized this secret technique. When he reached the golden core realm, it might be of great use. After looking at these ancient books for a while, Tsing Hui's attention was quickly attracted by a well-protected ancient book that looked extremely extraordinary. He immediately asked curiously, "What kind of technique is this?" This is a history book written by the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. It is specially used to praise the glorious deeds of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. Ancestor Nan Shun sneered at the side. A boasting book written by the Create Evolve Mysterious sect? The Create Evolve Mysterious sect's territory is vast, and they have almost unified the entire eastern wilderness. Their history is much more magnificent than the history of countless mortal countries. It is reasonable that they have similar ancient books written down. Tsing Hui thought to himself. With a trace of curiosity, he came to the book. Creation Record. Looking at this name, Tsing Hui flipped open this book that was equivalent to the history of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. Most of the things recorded in the book were quite true. However, the Create Evolve Mysterious sect naturally bragged about the glorious image of their Create Evolve Mysterious sect as much as possible. Tsing Hui flipped through it for a while and soon lost interest. However, soon, a record that seemed to be traced back to the founding of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect attracted Tsing Hui's attention. When I expanded to this point, I was intercepted by the Solitary Sword sect. The Solitary Sword sect's name was Huaqin. The disciples and elders were like the martial artists of the mortal world. They did not cultivate their bloodline, nor did they train their body. They only held a sword and used their spirit to train their sword. They used their will to control the sword. They had unfathomable power. Ordinary elders could not stop them even if they had the power to enter the underworld. Chapter 441. The Transforming Earth Sword Sect? Tsing Hui was slightly taken aback. There was actually someone in the sword sect who could contend against a blue netherworld realm expert without cultivating his bloodline or cultivating his body. Could it be? There really was such a cultivator in this world? Tsing Hui thought of his torch dragon sword intent that had yet to reach perfection and immediately began reading. Unfortunately, there were only a few records of the Transformation Sword sect in the history books of the Creation Transformation Mystical sect. It seemed that, in their opinion, a sect that could even be annihilated by a prominent divine stage expert wasn't worth writing about. Since he could not find any detailed information about the Transforming Earth Sword sect, he could only turn to Primordial Chaos Saint, Ancestor Chi Wu, Ancestor Nan Shun, and the others. Have any of you heard of the Transforming Earth Sword sect? Transforming Earth Sword sect? Primordial Chaos Saint, Ancestor Chi Wu, and Ancestor Nan Shun had obtained benefits from the treasury and naturally wanted to repay Tsing Hui. They racked their brains, but they could not recall anything. In the end, Primordial Chaos Saint looked at the Creation Mystical sect's history books that Tsing Hui pointed out and said, "This matter happened 9,135 years ago. Our Primordial Chaos Heaven sect also has elders in charge of writing history books. I'll get those elders to investigate in detail and should be able to find relevant clues." Ancestor Nan Shun of the Green Lotus Sword sect nodded repeatedly. Our Green Lotus Sword sect should also have records of something that happened 9,135 years ago. Ancestor Chi Wu, on the other hand, was troubled. The Golden Crow sect had not even been established for 9,000 years. Even if he wanted to lend Qing Su a hand in this matter, he had no idea where to start. "Then I'll have to trouble the two of you. My sword intent is currently at a bottleneck, and the transforming Earth Sword sect may be hiding an opportunity that can help me break through my sword intent bottleneck. Primordial Chaos Saint and Ancestor Nan Shun's expressions turned grave. Don't worry, Grand Elder Tsinghui. We'll send people to investigate immediately. The Transforming Earth Sword sect, is it? Our Green Lotus Sword sect is also a branch of the Sword sect, so we should have some connections with the Transforming Sword sect. As soon as we find any information about the Transforming Sword sect, we will report it to you immediately. Tsinghui nodded. Primordial Chaos Sacred Master and Old Ancestor Nanshun also passed down the order. Even Patriarch Qi Wu became very attentive when he learned that this matter was related to Tsing Hui's cultivation. Even though the Jin Wu religion did not have a history of 9,000 years, it did not mean that the other sects in their territory had a history of less than 9,000 years. If they could obtain detailed information about the Transforming Chen Sword sect from those sects, they would still be able to show their faces in front of Grand Elder Tsinghui. After taking a stroll around the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect's secret vault, Tsinghui and the others stepped out of the mountain range after recouping the resources they had invested in conquering the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. After waiting for less than 3 days, the Unity of Divine Qi, Green Netherworld Realm Elders, and Hall Masters who were in charge of occupying the territory also rushed to the scene and successfully met up at the foot of the wonderful mountain range at the Creation Mysterious Sect's headquarters. Evidently, with the assistance of so many prominent divine stage experts, even if there were some stubborn people in the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, they were unable to form an effective resistance. As a result, they were defeated like a mountain. In 3 days, the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect's mountains and rivers were given to the 3 great sections. Senior Sister Naylin, you're here. Has Primordial Chaos Sacred Master told you about my plans? In the guest hall, Tsinghui looked at Naylin Fei, who was leading the Sky Origin Peak Master and the others into the hall. Naylin Fei was a bold woman in the first place. She was rather straightforward, but she really did feel uneasy before Qingsu right now. Qingsu, why you're not joking, are you? Do you really intend to give the Create Evolve Mysterious Mountain to Qinglan Peak and use it as our base outside the sect? Tsinghui glanced at Naylin Fei, then at the Sky Origin Peak Master and the others who had followed Naylin Fei in. The Sky Origin Peak Master and the others immediately took their leave. After they left, Tsinghui slowly said, I have to go. Go. Naylin Fei was slightly stunned, then immediately realized what Tsinghui meant. She was shocked. You want to leave the Eastern Wilderness? Tsinghui nodded. For a moment, Naylin Fei's face was filled with disappointment and some other emotions. You're right. With your strength, you can suppress the entire Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. No one in the Eastern Wilderness is your match. Moreover, your cultivation has reached the transformative state. If you want to go further, especially to form a divine-grade golden core, the resources you need will greatly increase. Only by going to the infinite wasteland domain will you be able to meet your needs. Moreover, with your battle strength, as long as you're careful and don't step into the territories of the most powerful masters of the sea, you won't encounter any danger. Indeed, you should leave the Eastern Wilderness and go to the infinite wasteland domain, where the stage is even wider. That's not the reason. There's another reason. Tsinghui knew that his identity as the disciple of the Reverend Zhu Zhao had been exposed. Previously, the Dark Sky Taoist Master had tried to kill him because of his amazing talent. Now that the news of him destroying the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect had spread, it was hard to guarantee that no one would be afraid of his talent and not send people to find trouble with him. Moreover, Remnant Sword was already on his way to meet him. He had to leave. Therefore, he could only say, this matter can't be changed. When the time comes, the Zhou family will have to rely on you. If I have the time and opportunity, I will also set up a backup plan just in case. When Naylin Fei heard Tsinghui's resolute words, she knew that the matter was already settled. Moreover, Tsinghui was going to the infinite wasteland domain for the future. As a family member, she had no reason to stop him. I understand. As long as I, Naylin Fei, am home, I will not let the Zhou family suffer any grievances. I naturally believe that. Tsinghui nodded heavily. You should talk to your family before you leave. I will go over and explain to them. However, I have not been at home during this period of time. I guess they have adapted to this situation. This time, I just went a little further and a little longer. This is not just a little further. Nalan Fei smiled bitterly. Tsing Hui shook his head and did not dwell on this issue. On your way here, have you heard any news from the Qingquan Sacred Ground, the Limitless Sword Sect, the Six Paths of God and Demons, the Shenshao Sword Sect and other sects? Did they invade the territory of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect? Of course. Before the outcome of the battle between you and the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, these sects did not dare to make a move. However, after knowing that the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect was destroyed, they occupied more than anyone else. Furthermore, you did not order them to stop what they were doing. These few days, they occupied even more rapidly. Currently, the territory of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect has been divided up. The 3 sects have occupied half and the other 6 sects have occupied the other half. Stop? Why should I stop them? Tsing Hui sneered. Although the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect has been destroyed, the true overlord of the Heaven Wasteland domain has been replaced by the Limitless Sword Sect. Apart from the Limitless Sword Sect, the Qingquan Sacred Ground, the Six Paths of God and Demons, and the Shenshao Sword Sect are not weak. If I do not weaken them before I leave, even if the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, the Jinwu Religion, and the Green Lotus Sword Sect occupy the huge territory of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, they will not be safe. It will only attract countless people. If the Limitless Sword Sect, the Six Paths of God and Demons, the Qingquan Sacred Ground, and the Shenshao Sword Sect interfere in the territory of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, it is equivalent to provoking me. I naturally have enough reason to retaliate. Nalan Fei nodded. From the standpoint of the first deputy sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and herself, Tsing Hui's actions were naturally beneficial. Time is of the essence, and I've rested enough. I might as well make a trip to the Limitless Sword Sect today and take down the force that poses the greatest threat to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Nalan Fei nodded and said somewhat regretfully, I can't help you at all in a battle of this level, so you can only rely on yourself to be careful. Although the Limitless Sword Sect cannot be compared to the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, they are not weak either. In particular, Ancestor Stone Sword and the Lifeless Sword Master are the top experts of the older generation on the Heaven Wasteland domain. Ancestor Stone Sword, in particular, still occupies the throne of the #1 person on the Heaven Wasteland domain and is the only never-ending stage expert on the entire Heaven Wasteland domain. Don't worry, I know what to do. You should make arrangements in the Wondrous Mountain Range. This will be the headquarters of Qinglan Peak, or rather, the entire Zhou family. Okay. Nalan Fei solemnly agreed. Tsing Hui immediately left the meeting hall. Outside the meeting hall, besides the Sky Yuan Peak Master, there was another person waiting quietly. It was Yen Huang, who was only at the Spirit Chi Unity stage. My lord, I already have a few suitable targets for the task you asked me to do. Seeing Tsing Hui come out, Yen Huang hurriedly bowed and greeted him in a low voice. How many? There are 4 between the ages of 10 and 16, and all of them have an extraordinary foundation. Qing Su nodded. I need to pay a visit to the Wuji Sword Sect first. Bring the 4 of them to the Profundity Mountains and wait there. I've already come to an agreement with Senior Sister Nalan about the Fortune Peak in the Profundity Mountains. It's specially reserved for my use. Regular people are not to enter. Yes, my lord. Go! As Tsing Hui spoke, he leapt up and was about to leave. However, before he could leave, he saw more than a dozen figures flying in his direction from the horizon. The dozen figures were led by 2 people. One of them was the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's strongest expert, Saint Sovereign Primordial Chaos, while the other person's aura was even stronger than Saint Sovereign Primordial Chaos. In particular, the chilling and oppressive sword intent from his body allowed Qing Su to vaguely guess his identity. Under Primordial Chaos Saint Sovereign's lead, the group quickly landed in front of Tsing Hui. Upon seeing Tsing Hui, Primordial Chaos Saint Sovereign immediately introduced him. Great Elder Tsing Hui, let me introduce you. This is one of the supreme experts of the Limitless Sword sect, the previous #1 on the Heaven Wasteland list, the Lifeless Sword Master. He has come on behalf of the Limitless Sword sect to congratulate you on conquering the Creation Mysterious Gate and occupying the wondrous mountain range. Greetings to Great Elder Tsinghui. The Lifeless Sword Master stepped forward and bowed slightly in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. A moment later, he waved his hand behind him and released a blue netherworld stage cultivator who was being escorted. This is the first time we meet. I have specially brought a gift for Great Elder Tsinghui. This person established a sect called the Heavenly Demon Sect overseas, but he betrayed the alliance halfway after joining the Life Moon Alliance and tried to join the Limitless Sword sect. Today, we have brought this traitor of the Life Moon Alliance to be dealt with by Great Elder Tsinghui. Chapter 442. Heavenly Devil Cult Master? Tsinghui's gaze landed on the middle-aged man, and his gaze sharpened. The Heavenly Devil Cult Master was indeed one of the forces that had submitted to the Life Moon Alliance. However, he had used a teleportation technique to travel to the Creation continent. Moreover, the Creation Mystical Sect was expanding overseas at the time, and the Life Moon Alliance was being attacked by the Golden Edge Island, which was supported by the Unbounded Sword sect. As a result, the Heavenly Devil Cult Master's influence plummeted. Under the recruitment of the Golden Edge Island and other forces, many cultivators had abandoned the Life Moon Alliance. Alliance Master, please spare me. Back then, Heavenly Devil Cult Master could be considered an overlord overseas, but at that moment he was trembling in fear in front of Qing Su, begging endlessly. Tsinghui naturally wouldn't be nice to someone who betrayed the Life Moon Alliance when it was in trouble. However, the fact that the Lifeless Sword Master had returned a traitor to the Life Moon Alliance to him was interesting. Was the Limitless Sword sect going to give in? I'll accept your gift. In fact, if you hadn't sent him here, I would have asked the Limitless Sword sect for him. After all, he's a traitor to the Life Moon Alliance, and it's inappropriate for the Limitless Sword sect to protect him. As Qing Su said that, he ignored the Lifeless Sword Master's slight change in expression and cut straight to the chase. May I ask why the Lifeless Sword Master has come to visit me? The Lifeless Sword Master saw that Tsinghui had gone straight to the point, so he didn't want to dwell on such trivial matters. He said, I'm here to represent the Limitless Sword sect, the Shenshao Sword sect, the Six Paths of Gods and Demons, and the Qianquan Sacred Land. On one hand, I'm here to congratulate Grand Elder Tsinghui. Under your leadership, the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the Jinwu religion, and the Green Lotus Sword sect worked together to destroy the biggest tumor in the Eastern Wilderness, the Creation Mysterious sect. On the other hand, I'm hoping to sign a new alliance agreement with the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the Jinwu religion, and the Green Lotus Sword sect so that we can plan out our territories in the Eastern Wilderness to prevent unnecessary misunderstandings. Primordial Chaos Saint glanced at the Lifeless Sword Master before he turned to Tsinghui and said, Grand Elder Tsinghui, the Lifeless Sword Master hopes to maintain the territories that the various sects currently occupy. They'll recognize the legitimacy of our occupation of the wondrous mountain range, and our Hunyuan Heaven sect will have to recognize the borders that they set up. This matter is very important, and I can't make any rash decisions. That's why I brought the Lifeless Sword Master to you. You'll be in charge of this matter. Heh, Tsinghui sneered when he heard that. Why? Do I need other people's recognition to occupy the wondrous mountain range? Also, what do you mean by maintaining the territories that the various sects currently occupy? Does this include the territory of their original sect, or does it include the territory of the Creation Mystical sect that they have occupied? The territories that they're referring to are calculated from the moment the agreement was signed. Is that so? I've already conquered the Create Evolve Mysterious sect a long time ago. After I conquered the Create Evolve Mysterious sect, they invaded my territory. I actually had to sign an agreement with them and hand over my territory? Qing Su's words made the Lifeless Sword Master frown. He continued, Great Elder Qing Su, you're mistaken. Although you've kept the enemies on the main battlefield of the Creation Mystical sect busy, there are plenty of experts stationed in the other bases as well. We've taken over the territory that belongs to the Creation Mystical sect, So every piece of land has been splattered with the blood of the disciples of the Wuji Sword sect. How has it become invading your territory, Great Elder Qing Su? That's right. When our Shinshao Sword sect conquered the Creation Mysterious sect's Dragon Coil Mountain, we sacrificed hundreds of our disciples. We also fought a bloody battle with the Creation Mysterious sect's Dragon Coil Mountain for 20 hours. During this time, we didn't even use Supreme Elder Tsing Hui's strength. We've spent so much effort to conquer this territory, but Supreme Elder Tsing Hui said that it's yours. Don't tell me that the hundreds of disciples died for nothing? A true energy realm elder from the Shinshao Sword sect who came with Primordial Chaos Saint said in a deep voice. You paid such a huge price to conquer the Dragon Coil Mountain that doesn't even have a prominent saint expert. This only proves that the disciples of the Shinshao Sword sect are trash. Tsing Hui didn't hold back at all. You. The old man from the Shinshao Sword sect was about to roar furiously, but Qing Su could not be bothered to waste his breath on them. He directly waved his hand and said, "If you want to sign this agreement, sure, but I have a condition." What condition? Supreme Elder Tsing Hui can state it. As long as it's not too much, our Limitless Sword sect will definitely agree. The Lifeless Sword Master hurriedly said. We can sign the agreement, but it has to be in a month. In a month? The Lifeless Sword Master didn't understand why Tsing Hui wanted to sign the agreement in a month. However, as long as Tsing Hui was willing to sign the agreement, everything would be fine. I can naturally agree to this condition. Primordial Chaos Saint, friends from the Shinshao Sword sect, 6 Paths of God and Demons, and Chenkuan Sacred Ground will bear witness to this. I hope Supreme Elder Tsing Hui can keep his word. Of course, wait a minute. At this moment, the true energy realm elder from the Chenkuan Sacred Ground suddenly said, Supreme Elder Tsing Hui, you said in a month. Don't tell me the territories will be based on the territories that the sects will occupy a month later? Of course. Since the agreement has been pushed back to a month later, then the territories occupied by the various sects will naturally have to wait until the agreement is signed a month later. The Chenkuan Sacred Ground elder's face froze. The Lifeless Sword Master hurriedly exclaimed, No, why not? You said it yourself. With Primordial Chaos Saint and the other emissaries as witnesses, you can't go back on your word. Otherwise, you'll be considered a betrayer, and for betrayers. Tsing Hui glanced at the Lifeless Sword Master with murderous intent in his eyes. In the next moment he suddenly attacked. He didn't use his battle form, only his sword will. The flowing fire sword shot out from his body and pierced through the Heavenly Devil Cult Master, who was still in a state of panic and didn't know what would happen to him. Under the Heavenly Devil Cult Master's horrified and incredulous gaze, Tsing Hui's voice rang out. This is a role model. The Lifeless Sword Master, the Chenkuan Sacred Ground, the 6 Paths of God and Demons, and the true energy realm experts of the Shinshao Sword sect couldn't help but gasp. Tsing Hui's attitude was very clear. If you force me, I'll force you. They had made this agreement, and the division of sovereignty was based on the territories that they occupied. Although Tsing Hui didn't overturn their agreement, he pushed it back by a month. In this month, all the sects in the eastern wilderness would face Tsing Hui's thunderous attack. They had shot themselves in the foot. I advise you to return to your sects as soon as possible and discuss how to plan your territories. I'll be going to the Wuji Sword sect to pay a visit, so I won't be staying here. Goodbye. After killing the Heavenly Devil Cult Master and intimidating the Lifeless Sword Master and the others, Tsing Hui couldn't be bothered to waste time with them. He leaped up and rushed into the clouds, leaving on his sword. The Lifeless Sword Master's expression changed when he heard Tsing Hui's words. He hurriedly turned to Primordial Chaos Saint. Primordial Chaos Saint, what does Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elder Tsing Hui mean by this? Is this his attitude alone or the attitude of the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect? Don't forget that Hunyuan Heaven Sect is a member of the Shadow Sword Sect, just like the Wuji Sword Sect. Behind the Wuji Sword Sect stands the Netherworld Sword Ancestor, a core member of the Shadow Sword Sect. The name Netherworld Sword Ancestor made Primordial Chaos Saint's expression change slightly. However, when he thought of the Almighty behind Tsing Hui, His expression immediately returned to normal. Grand Elder Tsing Hui only represents himself. Moreover, I don't understand the lifeless sword master's words. What does Grand Elder Tsing Hui mean? Isn't he following the agreement that you guys came up with? As for the contents of the agreement, not a single word has been changed. It's just that the time has been pushed back to a month later. For such a large-scale agreement, it's completely reasonable for him to have a good discussion with his subordinates. It's not like he can just pick up a pen and sign it without hesitation when you take out the agreement. The lifeless sword master took a deep breath. He glanced at Primordial Chaos Saint and said coldly, I understand, but our Wuji sword sect won't be as relaxed as the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. Moreover, the Create Evolve Mysterious sect is fighting alone, but our Wuji sword sect has more than one reinforcements. When the time comes, your Hunyuan Heaven sect will finally have a decent apex expert, but he'll be like a shooting star, appearing for a fleeting moment and dying in the blink of an eye. Whether Grand Elder Tsing Hui will be like a shooting star, I'll have to trouble you, lifeless sword master. Primordial Chaos Saint smiled. Is that so? The lifeless sword master turned to the 3 true energy stage envoys from the Qiankuan sacred ground, the 6 paths of divinity and demons, and the Shenshao sword sect. Everyone, why don't you come with me to the Wuji sword sect? That's right. I'll inform the higher-ups of the sects to send reinforcements. The Create Evolve Mysterious sect can't advance or retreat under the joint attack of our sections. Chou Tsing Hui is just one transcendent stage cultivator. Even if he has a divine-grade battle body, he won't be able to defy the heavens. The true energy stage patriarchs of the 3 sects nodded in agreement. The group of envoys from the Wuji sword sect, the 6 paths of divinity and demons, the Qiankuan sacred ground, and the Shenshao sword sect stopped being courteous with Primordial Chaos Saint and quickly left, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. After they left, Primordial Chaos Saint summoned Tang Sun without hesitation. Gather the people immediately and continue to expand. We can't attack the Wuji sword sect because of Jianing, but the Qiankuan sacred ground, the 6 paths of divinity and demons, and especially the Shenshao sword sect, are all opportunities for our Hunyuan Heaven sect to expand. Whether or not our Hunyuan Heaven sect can become the top sect in the Eastern Wilderness depends on this. Tang Sun also understood the importance of this opportunity to the Hunyuan Heaven sect, so he immediately replied, yes, Primordial Chaos Saint. Chapter 443. Limitless Sword Sect. The lifeless sword master's flying sword was slightly inferior to Tsing Hui's flowing fire sword, but it was still at the 8th level. Furthermore, he was proficient in the way of the sword, and his speed was even faster than Tsing Hui's. As such, he was able to catch up to Tsing Hui on the way to the limitless sword sect. Lifeless. The moment the lifeless sword master arrived, many prominent sage stage and true energy boundary experts of the limitless sword sect came forward to welcome him. Lifeless, we have heard the news you sent from the Primal Chaos Divine Palace. Currently, we have mobilized almost all of the prominent sage stage experts in our territory. Other than the 6 who are in extremely important positions and cannot leave, all of the experts of the Limitless Sword sect are gathered here. That's right. Furthermore, we have also brought out the Sky Extreme Sword, Earth Extreme Sword, Mystic Extreme Sword, and Limitless Sword. As long as you, the Sky Extreme Sword Master, are here, we will be able to form the 4 Elemental Sword Formation. In front of our 4 Elemental Sword Formation, Tian Ding, Jin Chan, and the others of the Creation Mysterious sect will be beaten to the point that they do not dare to come out. If that Chou Tsing Hui is just talking about it, then so be it. However, if he really dares to behave atrociously in our Limitless Sword sect, we will definitely let him know the price of offending our Limitless Sword sect. Everyone in the Limitless Sword sect was filled with fighting spirit. Back then, when the Limitless Sword sect went up against the Creation Mysterious sect, it was only because the Creation Mysterious sect relied on the Creation Gates array formation that they were able to encroach on some of the Limitless Sword sect's land. However, the amount of land that the Limitless Sword sect had taken was extremely small. It could even be said that because those places had been destroyed, there was no longer any defensive value. The Limitless Sword sect was not willing to continue investing in those places, so they gave those lands to the Creation Mysterious sect. If they were to fight head-on, the Limitless Sword sect might not be afraid of the Creation Mysterious sect. Chou Tsing-hui should be here soon. His flying speed is extremely fast. If not for the fact that I didn't dare to hold back and flew at full speed, and even used medicinal pills to recover my genuine chi, I'm afraid that he would have overtaken me and arrived at our Limitless Sword sect first. His attitude is extremely firm, so unless we are willing to give up all of the Creation Mysterious sect's territory, this battle is unavoidable. The Lifeless Sword Master said with a heavy expression. What are you afraid of? This time, he's alone without the help of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, the Jinwu religion, and the Green Lotus Sword sect. Our Limitless Sword sect may not lose to him. Ancestor Chiya, who was one of the more irascible members of the Limitless Sword sect, said. The Lifeless Sword Master shook his head. When I went to the Creation Mysterious sect to meet Chou Tsing-hui, I had a good chat with the Hunyuan Heavenly Sovereign and asked him about Chou Tsing-hui's true abilities. The Hunyuan Heavenly Sovereign advised us not to make an enemy out of him. In the battle to destroy the Creation Mysterious sect, the Hunyuan Heavenly Sovereign said that even without the help of the three great sects, it would only take a little more time for Tsing-hui to completely destroy the Creation Mysterious sect. Although we have no choice but to go against him for the sake of the Limitless Sword sect's interests, we can't be too careful against a terrifying enemy that can destroy the Creation Mysterious sect alone. Tsing-hui is the Hunyuan Heavenly sect's Grand Elder. If you ask the Hunyuan Heavenly Sovereign about Chou Tsing-hui, the Hunyuan Heavenly Sovereign will naturally exaggerate. Therefore, his words are not trustworthy. I believe in the Hunyuan Heavenly Sovereign's character and the relationship we have cultivated over the years. He will definitely not lie to me about this matter. Enough. At this moment, the most respected person in the Limitless Sword sect, Ancestor Stone Sword, said in a deep voice, whether Chou Tsing-hui is strong or not, we will only know after the battle. Since the establishment of our Limitless Sword sect, there has never been a case of us surrendering without a fight. When Chou Tsing-hui arrives, I, Chiya, Lei Gu, and Wuxing will set up the 4 elemental sword formation and invite him into the formation. If he can break our Limitless Sword sect's strongest 4 elemental sword formation, then we won't be able to stop him. If he can't break the 4 elemental sword formation, then we will teach him an unforgettable lesson so that he won't have the guts to act presumptuously in our Limitless Sword sect in the future. Ancestor is right. How can our Limitless Sword sect surrender without a fight? Chou Tsing-hui, if you want our Limitless Sword sect to not interfere with the Creation Mysterious sect's matters, then you have to show us your true strength. Many True Energy Stage and Vision Divine Stage Grand Elders in the crowd nodded at the same time. Just the 4 of us? Although the 4 of us can be considered as the strongest in the Limitless Sword sect, there are many experts in our sect. If we all attack together, their battle prowess will be far above the 4 of us. Using just the 4 of us to fight him, isn't it a bit? Lei Gu, who was wielding the Sky Extreme Sword, frowned. This will depend on our judgment. Letting Tsing-hui break our 4 elemental sword formation can be said to be a pretense. When we fight with Tsing-hui, the others need to carefully analyze Tsing-hui's true strength and determine his specific abilities. If he really has the strength to fight against our entire Limitless Sword sect alone, then naturally everything will be over. According to the rules, the strong are respected. If he has the ability to break our 4 elemental sword formation, but it's a bit difficult, then we will seize the opportunity and wait for the crucial moment before everyone attacks together. We will completely leave him here. A bright light flashed in Ancestor Stone Sword's eyes. The current situation in the Eastern Wilderness is different. The Creation Mysterious sect has been destroyed, and our Limitless Sword sect is the strongest force in the Eastern Wilderness. The only force that can be said to be qualified to threaten us is the Hunyuan Heaven sect that has Chou Tsing-hui overseeing it. If we can really destroy it, in time, the sect that will replace the Creation Mysterious sect above the Eastern Wilderness will belong to none other than our Limitless Sword sect. Hearing Ancestor Stone Sword's words, Although everyone felt that this method was a little too sinister, when they thought of the benefits that this method could bring to the Limitless Sword sect, they immediately chose to agree without hesitation. Let's do as Ancestor Stone Sword says. Ancestors, test out Cho Tsing Hui's true strength. If he can't fight against our Limitless Sword sect, today will be the day of his death. We will wait here and see if he is really as powerful and invincible as the legends say. Everyone nodded in agreement. It's a pity that Cho Tsing Hui is too fast. If we can wait a little longer and let the experts from the Chengkuan Sacred Land, the Six Paths of Gods and Demons, and the Shenshao Sword sect arrive, our chances of defeating Cho Tsing Hui will be greatly increased. It's better to rely on ourselves than on others. The people from the Chengkuan Sacred Land, the Six Paths of Gods and Demons, and the Shenshao Sword sect might not be reliable. If Tsing Hui really has the strength that makes it difficult for us to fight against him, then it's fine. But if he doesn't, the moment Cho Tsing Hui shows signs of defeat will be the moment they stab us in the back. The others were rendered speechless by this statement. It seems that we can only rely on our own strength to fight against him. Ancestor Stone Sword nodded and was about to speak again when he seemed to sense something. He suddenly raised his head and looked towards the horizon. He's here. He's finally here. Everyone's expressions were solemn as if they were facing a great enemy. Swoosh! In the void, Tsing Hui flew on his sword and soon appeared in front of everyone from the Limitless Sword sect. Looking at the many powerful auras gathered in the square in front of the Limitless Sword sect, Tsing Hui saved the effort of looking for them. He landed in the middle of the square and fixed his gaze on the lifeless sword master. As expected of an expert from the Limitless Sword sect. Not only do you have extraordinary attainments in sword techniques, but you also have extraordinary attainments in sword techniques. I set off first, but the lifeless sword master was able to return to the Limitless Sword sect before me. Grand Elder Tsing Hui must be joking. How can our insignificant plan be compared to Grand Elder Tsing Hui's great mystical ability and great means to destroy the creation mystical sect? The lifeless sword master said. At the same time, he glanced at the many experts from the Limitless Sword sect behind him and seemed to finally have the confidence to go against Tsing Hui. Grand Elder Tsing Hui, let me give you another piece of advice. If you are willing to sign that agreement, the Limitless Sword sect will treat you as the most distinguished guest. However, if you are really coming for the Limitless Sword sect and have designs on us, then I can only tell you that you are making a huge mistake. The Limitless Sword sect will never submit to anyone or any force. Even the creation mystical sect, which was so powerful that it could almost take over the entire eastern wilderness, has suffered grievances in front of the Limitless Sword sect time and time again. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. We all know that there is no point in talking about this anymore. Tsing Hui waved his hand indifferently. Since you have taken out that agreement, then we will naturally follow it. After 1 month, the territories will belong to whoever can occupy as much as they want. Right now, I have my eyes on the territories of the Limitless Sword sect, and it is obvious that the Limitless Sword sect does not intend to hand them over. Then, let me see what capabilities the Limitless Sword sect, which is ranked below the Creation Mystical sect, has to dare to choose to go against me after knowing that I have destroyed the Creation Mystical sect. The Lifeless Sword sect master, Old Ancestor Stone Sword, Old Ancestor Chiya, Lei Gu, and the others saw that Tsing Hui was resolute and would not be swayed by his words. Since Grand Elder Tsing Hui insists on going against the Limitless Sword sect, then there is no need for the Limitless Sword sect to fight back. In order to avoid causing too many casualties, the Limitless Sword sect will not go all out. However, the entire Limitless Sword sect is very confident in our 4 elemental sword formation. Today, I will set up the 4 elemental sword formation. If Grand Elder Tsing Hui can break the 4 elemental sword formation, the Limitless Sword sect will be at your disposal. If Grand Elder Tsing Hui cannot break the 4 elemental sword formation, then the Limitless Sword sect will accept any punishment. All right. Qing Su agreed calmly. I've long heard that the Wuji Sword sect possesses the Heaven's Extreme Sword, the Earth's Extreme Sword, the Profound Extreme Sword, and the Wuji Sword. These four swords can even be used to create formations that possess great power. With this formation, the creation mystical sect has been repelled time and time again, but they can't do anything to your Wuji sword sect. Today, let me see if this formation really is as vicious as the rumors say. Chapter 444. Excuse me. The lifeless Sword Master, Ancestor Stone Sword, Ancestor Chia, and Sword Master Lei Gu quickly formed a sword formation. Each of them stood in a position and circulated their genuine qi. Instantly, the celestial limit, earthly limit, Xuanji limit, and Wuji limit resonated with each other and faintly connected their sword wills, causing them to evolve to a higher level of sword aura. Sword aura. The sword aura in this world exerted idealism to the extreme. Simply put, it was mind interference with matter. This kind of interference wasn't as simple as object manipulation or object absorption. It was, when one's will was compatible with one's own, as long as one believed that the peerless godly weapon in one's hand was a real peerless godly sword, then even a wooden sword in one's hand could break gold and stone. The lifeless Sword Master, Ancestor Stone Sword, Ancestor Chia, and Sword Master Lei Gu used the power of the sword formation to summon the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuan Wu and infuse them into their godly weapons, causing the godly weapons to contain the power of a divine beast. In addition, they had chosen the bloodline of the four divine beasts. In the end, only the lifeless Sword Master had cultivated the six-winged tiger's saintly body, while the others were only spiritual level or pseudo-divine level. However, they were still able to exert the power of the four divine sword formation. Mr. Tsing Hui, be careful. After the lifeless Sword Master and the others formed the sword formation, they immediately shouted and attacked in four directions. Moreover, none of them had manifested their battle bodies. In other words, they hadn't manifested their battle bodies at all. Instead, they had left a part of their battle bodies to protect themselves, while the rest of their battle bodies were infused into the godly swords in their hands. The godly swords of the six divine beasts, Vermilion Bird, Xuan Wu, Azure Dragon, and White Tiger, kept flashing and appearing, giving people a deadly pressure. Scorching Sky. Ancestor Chia, who had the worst temper, took advantage of his bird bloodline's battle body to attack Tsing Hui first. Then, with a low roar, he quickly slashed his sword light toward Tsing Hui. From the beginning to the end, his fighting style was almost exactly the same as the Blue Netherworld Realm experts. Tsing Hui didn't see him completely relying on his battle body to fight against the enemy. This method of battle made Qing Su's eyes light up slightly. He had only been able to control the power of his body remotely all this time. Exclamation point. With the divine beasts, the golden crow divine body, which carried the blazing true fire of the sun, like a dazzling sun, the sun like a dazzling sun, the sun like a blazing sun like a dazzling sun, like a dazzling like a blazing sun claw directly as sun, S's claw, was like a sun, as. That's the golden crow divine body. What a terrifying heat. Even though this gold crow is just manifested, without using any special skills, the heat waves it emits alone are enough to burn a normal cultivator into ashes. If it is moved to the sky of a city and illuminated for 3 days, the entire city will be burnt into a wasteland, and all the living creatures within dozens of square kilometers will be wiped out. If it triggers the power of the Grand Sun True Fire, within 1 month, it will be enough to destroy the ecology of an island hundreds of square kilometers and turn it into a living hell. The divine beast Golden Crow. Everyone, today, let us use the most powerful 4 elemental sword formation of the Wuji sword sect to fight against the divine beast Golden Crow divine body that dominated the Eastern Barren territory. The remaining 3 ancestors of the Wuji sword sect shouted at the same time and quickly rushed toward Tsing Hui. At this moment, Tsing Hui's attack had already collided with Ancestor Red Fong's attack. Just as Ancestor Red Fong was about to be captured, Ancestor Red Fong let out a long roar, and the divine sword in his hand seemed to burst out with a dazzling sword light. The sword light was blood red, and there seemed to be a vermilion bird flying inside. With the vermilion bird's power opening a path, Ancestor Red Fang actually tore apart the Golden Crow Divine Body's claw and met it head-on, seemingly piercing through the Golden Crow Divine Body and killing Tsing Hui's true body. Tsing Hui could clearly feel that the energy contained in Ancestor Red Fang's sword was far from being comparable to his Golden Crow Divine Body. If the energy in Ancestor Crimson Fang's strike was 10, then the energy in the Green Ruin's Golden Crow physique would reach 30 at the very least. However, as 30 of his energy was evenly distributed across the Golden Crow physique, Ancestor Crimson Fang had condensed 10 of his own energy into a single entity, which was why his strike was able to break through the Green Ruin's Golden Crow physique strike. As a result, it did not slow down at all, allowing him to launch a counterattack. However, that was all. Qing Su retreated as soon as he sensed Ancestor Scarlet Fang's weakness. At the same time, he channeled his true qi into the Golden Crow, and all of his true qi surged into the Golden Crow avatar. The Golden Crow avatar that had been ripped apart suddenly pressed down in all directions. The tremendous true qi of the Great Sun constantly ground away at Ancestor Scarlet Fang's streak of light with a destructive force. It only needed a few seconds to completely obliterate the streak of light, which would then incinerate his original body hidden in the streak of light to ashes. Dragon Coiling. Sea Suppressing. Howl Kill. At this moment, the Ancestor Stone Sword, Lei Gu, and the Lifeless Sword Master arrived right behind him. They charged into Qing Su's Golden Crow avatar again and tore it to pieces. The power of each of them could not be said to be mighty, but it was extremely condensed. Even though Tsing Hui had greatly increased the power of his Golden Crow Divine Body with the true qi, it was still defeated by the 4 experts of the Limitless Sword sect. For a time, the Golden Crow Divine Body was showing signs of not being able to withstand the attacks of the 4 experts of the Limitless Sword sect. This kind of attack can indeed allow the weak to defeat the strong. Just like now, the difference between the Golden Crow Divine Body, 1 Saint Body, and 3 Pseudo-Saint Bodies has been more than made up for by this method. Right now, it's almost like I'm fighting against 4 experts of the Transcendent Realm alone. If not for my advantage in recovery and the true qi consumption to increase my attack power, I'm afraid I would be in danger of losing. The Limitless Sword sect is truly worthy of being a top sect that even the Creation Mystical sect is helpless against. What a pity! Unfortunately, Tsing Hui's methods were not as simple as what he saw in front of him. I thought that this Cho Tsing Hui was very powerful, but it turns out that his reputation is undeserved. At this level, the 4 of us are able to fight him to a draw. If we gather all the true element and vision saint stage experts of the sect to attack together, we will absolutely be able to kill him here. Old Ancestor Chiya's eyes flashed with excitement as his battle-intent soared. The more he fought, the braver he became. Don't underestimate him. The most terrifying thing about Cho Tsing Hui is his primal chaos level. It is said that his primal chaos level is extremely high. Not only did he increase his recovery ability to the 10th level, he even has a 3rd level divine technique. Seeing that he hasn't even used his divine technique yet, we can see that we haven't forced him to use all his cards yet. The Lifeless Sword Master said in a low voice. Divine technique? It's not like we don't have it. Who's afraid of who? He has a 3rd level divine technique and can maintain it for much longer than us. If we can't defeat him while he is using his divine technique, we will be the ones to be defeated. Moreover, other than his divine technique, I remember that Cho Tsing Hui has another method. He can set up a strange domain similar to his divine body. Inside that domain, his divine body's strength will also increase sharply. Hearing the Lifeless Sword Master's words, old Ancestor Chiya's excitement subsided a little. However, his battle intent was still high. He still has a trump card. It seems that we are not pressuring him enough. Since that's the case, let's force him to use all his trump cards. Vermilion Bird, soar. Good, let's go all out and force him to use all his trump cards. Xuanwu World Suppressing. The remaining 3 ancestors of the Limitless Sword sect also went all out. Under their control, their true qi began to erupt. For a moment, a powerful aura filled the void. 10 suns burning the heavens. Seeing the four sword masters of the Limitless Sword sect making their moves, Tsing Hui no longer held back. Activating the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique, 7 blazing suns appeared out of thin air. It was like a dream, but it seemed real. Countless rays of light connected together, forming a domain with a diameter of more than 10,000 meters. With the amplification of this domain, Tsing Hui's Golden Crow divine body, which was originally at a disadvantage under the attacks of the 4 sword masters, suddenly exploded with a dazzling light. That was not all. Qing Su continued to increase the rate at which true qi was drained away, and the direct result of this was the Golden Crow divine body's attacks became even fiercer. Rumble. Intense explosions mixed with dazzling light spread out in front of the Limitless Sword sect's entrance. The Limitless Sword sect's members clenched their fists nervously. That pseudo-domain-like technique has been used. Although it can suppress us, it's only slightly better than us. Now, only the divine technique is left. If the divine technique is his final trump card, then the Limitless Sword sect definitely has the strength to fight against him. The Lifeless Sword Master, Ancestor Red Fong, Ancestor Stone Sword, Lei Gu, and the others transmitted their voices back and forth. Although we can fight against him with all the power of the Limitless Sword sect and have a high chance of winning, if we really want to defeat him, we will definitely have to pay a heavy price. What's more terrifying is that the duration of our divine technique is not comparable to the duration of his third stage divine technique. Once he breaks out of the encirclement and escapes, the Limitless Sword sect will not be able to do anything to him. When the cooldown of his divine technique is over 7 days later, the Limitless Sword sect will be annihilated. The Lifeless Sword Master's voice echoed in their ears. This result made Ancestor Stone Sword, Lei Gu, Ancestor Red Fong, and the others fall silent. Damn it, how could such a monster be born in the Heaven Wasteland domain? Do we have a way to ask the Netherworld Sword Ancestor for help? Impossible. This Cho Tsing Hui is rumored to be the disciple of the number 1 figure in the Heaven Territory domain, esteemed Zhu Zhao. Although the Netherworld Sword Ancestor behind us is a core figure in the Sword Shadow sect, compared to esteemed Zhu Zhao, he is much weaker. The Sword Shadow sect would never offend such a terrifying existence for the sake of the Limitless Sword sect. For a moment, the Limitless Sword sect was filled with helplessness. In the past, when they heard that Qing Su had suppressed the Green Lotus Sword sect to the point of suffocation and forced them to submit to him, the people of the Wuji Sword sect had even viciously mocked the Green Lotus Sword sect. But now, not long after, the same fate had befallen the Limitless Sword sect. For a moment, the Transcendent State ancestors who stood at the peak of the Heaven Wasteland domain were filled with bitterness. Stop! Chapter 445. Stop it. The Lifeless Sword Master and Old Ancestor Stone Sword's voices were filled with helplessness. In fact, when Tsing Hui destroyed the Create Evolve Mysterious sect, the Lifeless Sword Master and the rest had already expected that if Tsing Hui really wanted to use the same method to deal with them, they would not be able to do anything. After all, the Create Evolve Mysterious sect, which had lost Huang Long and the rest, was still superior to them in terms of the number of experts and battle power. The reason why the Create Evolve Mysterious sect rarely had the upper hand against the Limitless Sword sect was because the Create Evolve Mysterious sect could not mobilize all their forces to deal with the Limitless Sword sect. If the Create Evolve Mysterious sect really focused on dealing with the Limitless Sword sect, the Limitless Sword sect would not have the qualifications to go against the Create Evolve Mysterious sect unless the Limitless Sword sect's forces doubled. The reason why they wanted to fight with Tsing Hui was because of the pride and unwillingness in their hearts. Even though they knew that they would definitely lose, they still wanted to test the true strength of Tsing Hui, the strongest person in the Eastern Wilderness. The result was, they had tested it. If Tsing Hui really said that he wanted to destroy the Limitless Sword sect, the Limitless Sword sect would definitely not be able to survive. Oh, you're not going to continue fighting? This is just a warm-up. A terrifying force gathered in Tsing Hui's hand. In fact, it was just as he said. Although the Limitless Sword sect's 4 elemental sword formation was powerful, it was not strong enough to go against him. He just wanted to test the strength of the four elemental sword formation. At the same time, he wanted to understand the battle style of the so-called sword cultivators in this world. They had not seen him fight for so long with the limitless sword sect. Not to mention the sword of the glorious sun, he did not even use the resplendent eternity. Supreme Elder Tsing Hui's strength is shocking. With his strength alone, he can suppress the entire eastern wilderness. The limitless sword sect is convinced. I will ask the limitless sword sect to retreat from the create evolve mysterious sect's territory. Furthermore, as long as Supreme Elder Tsing Hui is alive, the limitless sword sect will never set foot on the create evolve mysterious sect's territory. The lifeless sword master said bitterly, "Oh, was it enough just to withdraw from the creation mysterious sect? I was the one who conquered the create evolve mysterious sect." The limitless sword sect's invasion of the create evolve mysterious sect's territory is equivalent to invading Tsing Hui's territory. Now that the limitless sword sect can't do anything to me, you want to settle the matter peacefully? How can there be such a good thing in this world? Cho Tsing Hui, don't go too far. If worst comes to worst, we'll fight to the death. Although our limitless sword sect can't be compared to the creation mystical gate, each and every one of us is filled with blood. If we really want to fight to the death with you, you won't have it easy either. Ancestor Chiya, who had the most impatient temperament, stepped forward and said sternly, "A life and death struggle? You want to fight me to the death with just the likes of you? From the looks of it, I didn't use my full strength when we were fighting just now. Did you think that there was still a chance for you to survive? In that case, if you can withstand my sword, I'll turn around and leave. If you can't, then die." After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he didn't care whether Ancestor Chiya agreed or not. The golden crow behind him let out a long cry, and the flames on its body surged. As its sharp claws tore, a dazzling sword formed from blazing flames rapidly condensed, and in less than a breath's time, it had already slashed down from the sky. The sword blade contained a terrifying destructive pressure, as if a scorching sun had fallen from the 9 heavens with the power to destroy the world. Its target was Ancestor Chiya. Old Ancestor Chiya's face changed when he sensed the destructive power contained in the sword light that was not something an ordinary person could withstand. Ancestor Stone Sword, Lifeless Sword Master, Lei Gu, and the others at the side all turned pale with fright. Not good. Supreme Elder Tsing Hui, please show mercy. Quickly save him. The three of them roared and soared into the sky at the same time. The aura of the divine art surged as they tried to block the sword of the glorious sun that was slashing down from the void. But before the three of them could block the sword of the glorious sun, Tsing Hui also operated the divine art. His energy was replenished and he rushed into the endless realm. The golden crow divine art once again grabbed at the air, and a strong light like a scorching sun erupted from his hand. I've said it before, this sword strike can only be blocked by him. Back off. With a loud shout, this resplendent and eternal power directly exploded among the 3 peak powerhouses of the limitless sword sect who had activated their divine arts. Endless light and heat mixed with a terrifying energy shock wave quickly engulfed the 3 of them. And in the dazzling light, Ancestor Chiya, who had lost the support of the lifeless sword master, Ancestor Stone Sword, and Lei Gu, let out a furious roar. Ancestor Chiya's pseudo-divine art, which had been focused on defense, suddenly soared into the sky, carrying with it a sense of desperation. It fiercely collided with the sword that seemed to be the ruler of destruction in the void. As the power of the sword of the glorious sun fully erupted, it was as if a scorching sun was burning in the void. The light, the explosion, and the terrifying heat compressed the air within a radius of dozens of kilometers, causing the air within dozens of kilometers to be like water surface that was being squeezed, carrying with it a blazing flame that spread out in all directions. The sky, it was as if it had been completely ignited. Open for me! Rumble! The flames that burned the void burned for an entire breath. After the destructive shock wave gradually weakened for a moment, Ancestor Stone Sword's angry roar came from the void. With the help of the divine technique, he avoided the peak of the eruption of the resplendent eternal power, and then brazenly struck again, completely tearing apart the flame attack formed by the explosion of the resplendent eternal power. Then, he rushed towards Old Ancestor Chiya at the fastest speed, only to see Old Ancestor Chiya being crushed into powder by the power of the glorious Sun Sword. Ancestor Stone Sword let out a painful roar. He looked at Qing Su, whose presence had already declined earlier, but he had recovered slightly in just a few seconds. He did not seem to know what weakness and exhaustion were. Deep powerlessness surged into his eyes. Ancestor Chiya, Senior Brother Chiya. At this moment, the lifeless sword master and Lei Gu tore through the flames of the resplendent eternal explosion and broke through the barrier of the resplendent eternal. Unfortunately, they came too late, so they didn't even see the scene of Ancestor Chiya being killed by the sword of the glorious sun. For a moment, the two of them, who didn't know what to do, could only turn their gazes to Ancestor Stone Sword. You can leave. Ancestor Stone Sword waved his hand at the two of them, and then his gaze fell on Tsing Hui again. His eyes were filled with deep fatigue. Great Elder Tsing Hui, you win. It's our fault for invading your territory. Tell me, what compensation do you want? As he spoke, there was a trace of sorrow in his tone. It was exactly because of their hope that the terrifying expert who had destroyed the creation mystical sect had directly slain an ancestor of their Wuji sword sect. Now that the four elemental sword formation was incomplete, it was even less likely to be able to fend off Qing Su. Tsing Hui glanced at Ancestor Stone Sword. He couldn't be bothered to waste his breath on these ancient sect ancestors who wouldn't shed tears until they saw the coffin. 3 conditions. First, the Limitless Sword sect needs to prepare the Dao runes of a 100-year-old Dao item. 100-year-old Dao items Dao runes? How is that possible? Our Limitless Sword sect doesn't have that many Dao items. We can't even gather one with 50 Dao runes. The Lifeless Sword Master exclaimed. Is that so? If you can't gather it, I can go in and find it myself. The Lifeless Sword Master wanted to say something, but Ancestor Stone Sword raised his hand to stop him. Great Elder Tsing Hui, please continue. Second, I need the Limitless Sword sect guarding sword technique, the killing sword technique. I can give you the killing sword technique. Ancestor Stone Sword agreed to this request rather quickly. What about the third one? The third one is the 3 of your chaos spells. Our chaos spells? Ancestor Stone Sword's face sank. Great Elder of Qing Su, are you not planning on giving our Wuji sword sect any chance of survival? Qing Su looked at Ancestor Stone Sword, but he had no intention of wasting any more time. I've already stated my conditions. Now, all you need to do is make a choice. If you agree, I'll turn around and leave. If you don't, then let me see just how resplendent the Wuji sword sect can be in a battle to the death. At this point he paused slightly. He looked past Ancestor Stone Sword and the Lifeless Sword Master to the many higher-ups of the Limitless Sword sect behind them, as well as the mountains and pavilions further away. It's a pity that from today onwards, the Limitless Sword sect, which has been passed down since ancient times, will be erased from the eastern wilderness. The Lifeless Sword Master, Ancestor Stone Sword, Lei Gu, and the others were furious. The prominent sage and true energy realm higher-ups who had gathered further away were even more furious. They wished they could immediately draw their swords and fight Tsing Hui to the death. However, even if the entire Limitless Sword sect swarmed forward and fought with their lives on the line, the final result would be nothing but destruction. After understanding his situation, Ancestor Stone Sword, who was the most respected expert, had a trace of sorrow in his eyes. In the end, he lowered his head helplessly. Great Elder Tsing Hui, we agree to your request. However, the item with 100 Taoist rhymes needs time. Please give us a few more days. I'll give you half a month. After half a month, I want to see the item with 100 Taoist rhymes in the Creation Mystical Gate. Otherwise, the next time I come to your Limitless Sword sect, I won't be so nice. Half a month. Ancestor Stone Sword nodded bitterly. We'll send the item with 100 Taoist rhymes to the Creation Mystical Gate in half a month. Alright, I want the Killing Sword Manual and your Chaos Technique now. Ancestor Stone Sword, Lifeless Sword Master, and Lei Gu looked at each other and fell silent. After a while, Ancestor Stone Sword was the first to step forward. He handed a piece of white jade filled with an ancient aura to Tsing Hui. This is the jade of inheritance of the Killing Sword Manual. It was passed down during the ancient divine wilderness era. I hope this sword manual will be able to flourish in the hands of great elder Tsing Hui. Qing Su accepted the piece of jade from the ancestor of the Stone Sword sect. He scanned it with his senses, and even with a single glance, he could tell that the way of the sword was extremely extraordinary. Of course, he believed that Ancestor Stone Sword wouldn't dare to take out a fake Killing Sword manual to trick him at this time. Very good. Tsing Hui put the white jade into his personal space and looked at Ancestor Stone Sword again. Ancestor Stone Sword seemed to have aged dozens of years in an instant. This is my chaos technique. Chapter 446. The Shenshao Sword Sect. At this moment, the Shenshao Sword Sect's leader, Li Shenshao, and the only transcendent ancestor in the sect, Li Hechuan, and more than a dozen other higher-ups were standing at the spaceport. They smiled as they welcomed the group of people who were walking down from the battleship that was obviously different from the one in the eastern wilderness. When they saw the handsome man at the front, Li Shenshao and Li Hechuan smiled humbly. "Welcome, young sect leader." The young man who walked down from the battleship was none other than the young sect leader of the UNG sect from the faraway Heaven Wasteland domain. He was known as Xia Tian in the Chaos Divine Palace. Xia Tian had been trying to obtain the mysterious statue that Bei Shao had left behind through Nailan Fei. However, his scheme had been foiled by Tsing Hui the last time, so he had no choice but to take a battleship from Heaven Wasteland domain. After 3 years, he had finally stepped into Heaven Wasteland domain. As he had interacted with the ancestor of the Shenshao Sword sect, Li Donglai, who had gone to Heaven Wasteland domain to train, the Shenshao Sword sect was the one who had come to Heaven Wasteland domain to find Tsing Hui. Eastern Wilderness, this small place. We finally arrived. Xia Tian stepped on the land that belonged to Eastern Wilderness. He looked around and saw all the mountains and rivers in front of him. The essence Qi in Eastern Wilderness is much weaker than in Heaven Wasteland domain. No wonder it hasn't developed much over the years. Partridge, who did not reveal any aura, said slowly behind Xia Tian. Compared to 3 years ago, the aura on his body had become even more obscure. What was even more shocking was that in addition to the obscurity, the power on his body also seemed to be integrated into a single entity. Obviously, he seemed to have obtained some kind of opportunity during the 3 years of boring sailing. His cultivation level, which was originally at the peak of the never-ending realm, had taken another step forward. He had formed the immortal golden pellet and stepped into the 4th level of the Saint Realm. How's the investigation of the matter that I asked you to investigate? Xia Tian did not pay much attention to the respectful Li Shenshao and Li Hechuan, the sect leader of the Shenshao Sword sect, as well as the #1 expert of their sect. Although Li Hechuan was in the transcendent realm, he had condensed a divine-grade battle body and cultivated the divine-grade vital essence. His combat strength was far beyond Li Hechuan's. Moreover, he had a profound foundation. Although he had only broken through to the true element realm a few years ago, he had still managed to reach the transcendent realm during the 3 years he spent traveling overseas. It was said that the strongest person in the small eastern wilderness was only in the eternal realm. Replying to young sect master, if young sect master and we are talking about the same person, then we don't even need to ask around. His name is like thunder in the ears of everyone in the eastern wilderness. Oh? Xia Tian was slightly taken aback. After a moment, he seemed to have thought of something and said with a hint of disdain, "I forgot that cultivators from small places like you have to make a fuss about nothing for a long time to cultivate divine-grade vital essence. Their sects must be holding a big banquet, right? That kid is young, and his cultivation level is not very high. However, he can enter the sky. He is a peerless genius. Moreover, he has the combat strength to kill my incarnation. He should be famous." Li Hechuan glanced at Xia Qin. He really wanted to say that compared to Zhua Qingxiu, you weren't much stronger. However, he naturally couldn't say those words out loud. Since young sect master knows this kid's strength, we don't need to remind you. Where is he now? I can't wait to avenge the humiliation of that day. Xia Tian said with a cold expression. Chou Tsinghui suppressed the Limitless Sword sect 4 days ago and the Qinquan Holy Land 2 days ago. Logically speaking, his next target should be our Shenshao Sword sect. However, for some reason, he suddenly changed his path halfway and returned to the wonderful mountain range of the Creation Mysterious sect. He is currently in the Wonderful Mountain Range. Wonderful Mountain Range? Then what are we waiting for? Let's go to that wonderful mountain range immediately. Xia Tian didn't want to waste time here. He couldn't wait to get his hands on that supreme divine object and use its power to soar into the sky. In the future, he would become a supreme expert and rule over the UNG sect. He would let those old fellows in the UNG sect who dared to not support him see who was the one who could lead the UNG sect to prosperity. Young sect master, the wonderful mountain range was originally the territory of the Creation Mysterious sect, and the Creation Mysterious sect was a force supported by the Heavenly Tao. In order to destroy this force, Tsinghui joined forces with the experts of the Hunyuan Heavenly sect, the Jin Wu religion, and the Green Lotus Sword sect to destroy the Creation Mysterious sect and occupy the wonderful mountain range. Right now, the experts of the 3 sects have yet to leave, so the wonderful mountain range can be said to be filled with experts. Do you think we should gather the other experts and wait for the experts of the Qinquan Holy Land and the 6 paths of gods and demons to arrive before heading to the wonderful mountain range together? Oh? The Creation Mysterious sect is actually a force supported by the Heavenly Tao? Xia Tian was surprised. One had to know that the UNG sect and the Heavenly Tao had a very close relationship. However, he had already thrown these distracting thoughts to the back of his mind. Experts? What kind of experts can there be in the small eastern wilderness? No matter how strong they are, can they be stronger than Partridge? As soon as Xia Tian finished speaking, Partridge, who was originally at the never-ending realm and had now reached the Golden Core realm, immediately released a trace of his aura. The faint pressure and the aura contained in the pressure made Li Huchuan's eyes widen. Golden Core? Immortal Golden Core realm? That's right. Xia Tian said indifferently, do you think that with him by my side in the small eastern wilderness, I still need to be cautious? Li Huchuan hurriedly lowered his head. His face was filled with respect and joy as he said, Young master, you are right. With this golden elixir realm expert by your side, you can go anywhere in the eastern wilderness. Then, what are you waiting for? Lead the way. Yes, let's go now. Li Huchuan said and immediately sent a voice transmission to Li Shenshao. Immediately tell our Shenshao Sword sect disciples to advance toward the Creation Mysterious sect. Take advantage of this moment to occupy as much territory as possible. Now! Li Shenshao replied with some hesitation, isn't it a little too early? Even though this UNG sect master has a Golden Core realm guard by his side, that Chou Tsinghui is definitely not weak. If we rashly attack the Creation Mysterious sect now, if we're not careful, we'll bring disaster to the entire Shenshao Sword sect. Idiot! No matter how powerful that Chou Tsinghui is, how can he be on par with a Golden Core realm expert? In particular, Zhuo Qingshu was a Gold Core expert from the UNG sect, a first-rate sect of the Heaven Wasteland domain. Zhuo Qingshu still had the divine technique. He might still have a glimmer of hope to fight against Partridge. However, he had already used the divine technique in the battle against the Wuji Sword sect 3 days ago, so there was no chance of him escaping this time. If we don't take advantage of this opportunity to occupy as much of the Creation Mysterious sect's territory as possible now, when the other sects realize that Zhuo Qingshu is really killed by the young sect master's bodyguard, how can we, the Shenshao Sword sect, take the initiative when the other sects react? Go. When the Shenshao Sword sect master heard this, he realized that Tsinghui had already used the divine technique. He immediately nodded and said, yes. I'll do it right away. The people of the Shenshao Sword sect brought Xia Tian and aggressively charged toward the wonderful mountain range. At this moment, Tsinghui, who was in the middle of the wonderful mountain range, was welcoming the arrival of a distinguished guest. It was one of the two most outstanding disciples of the Master Zhu Zhao, Broken Sword. Yesterday morning, when Qing Su made his way to the Shunshao sword sect and planned on dealing with them as well, he suddenly received a message from Cruel Jian. He said that he was only a day or two away from the eastern wastelands. This result was out of Tsing Hui's expectations. One had to know that according to his calculations, no matter how fast Broken Sword was, it would take at least half a month for him to arrive. If there was any delay on the way, it would take at least a month for him to arrive. But now, I still need half a month to sweep through the entire eastern wasteland. During this half a month, I can only ask senior brother Broken Sword to wait a little. Tsing Hui muttered to himself. More than a year had passed, so there was no need to be anxious about a mere half a month. After contacting Broken Sword and finding out that he still needed half a day to truly arrive at the wonderful mountain range, Tsing Hui also arrived at a hidden mountain peak in the wonderful mountain range. On the mountain peak, Yan Huang was waiting with his men. When he saw Tsing Hui arrive, he immediately welcomed him. "Sir." Tsing Hui nodded. "Stay here and guard." Blazing Glory respectfully responded. Tsing Hui immediately went up the mountain peak and arrived at a courtyard in the mountain peak. There were 3 servants who were only at the awakening level. When they saw Tsing Hui, they immediately knelt down and saluted. One of them even pulled over a cowardly man that Yan Huang had specially arranged to stay in the courtyard. This man looked to be around 16 years old, and his face was filled with grievance. He looked at Tsing Hui, a stranger, with fear in his eyes. This was an imbecile. In this mountain peak, there were 4 imbeciles that met Tsing Hui's requirements. This was only one of them. Tsing Hui came before this man and carefully sensed his mental state. However, because he did not use the incarnation technique, this kind of feeling was not real. Tsing Hui could only vaguely determine his specific intelligence. "Their food is prepared according to my standards, right?" Tsing Hui said to the leader of the 3 servants. "Yes, my lord. Although these people have some problems with their intelligence, thanks to the excellent food that my lord has prepared, each of them has infinite strength. They only need a little bit of training, and they will immediately become mortal grandmasters. If they can awaken with the accumulation in their bodies, they can quickly enter the true Qi realm. Even now, they rely on their own brute force. Sometimes we, the awakening realm cultivators, can't control them." "Very good. Keep it up." Tsing Hui nodded in satisfaction. Strictly speaking, these 4 people were all vessels for the incarnation technique he had prepared. However, because he was pressed for time, he did not place an incarnation on these people. Therefore, their minds had not recovered. They only had brute force, but they did not have enough consciousness to convert the energy accumulated in their bodies into cultivation. After checking these chosen ones one by one in the courtyard, Tsing Hui let Yan Huang continue to personally guard this mountain peak and left. Calculating the time, Broken Sword's flying instrument should be arriving soon. Tsing Hui did not waste any more time and went straight to the spaceport at the highest peak of Wondrous Mountain Range. After waiting for less than an hour at the spaceport, a huge battleship with a style that was obviously different from the one in Eastern Wilderness shuttled through the sea of clouds. It braved the wind and waves and went straight to the spaceport at Wondrous Mountain Range. Chapter 447. A Battleship? Tsing Hui was slightly taken aback when he saw the battleship that clearly belonged to the Heaven Wasteland world riding the wind and waves and descending toward the spaceport. Shouldn't senior brother Cruel Sword be riding a flying artifact? How did it become a battleship? Although he felt a little strange, Tsing Hui still stood on one side of the spaceport and looked at the battleship that was descending. However, before the battleship could dock properly, a voice full of resentment suddenly sounded from the battleship. "Cho Tsing Hui." In the next moment, a talisman suddenly rose into the air, and in an instant, thousands of streaks of light burst out. These streaks of light burst out, and as if they were solid, they directly enveloped the entire wondrous mountain, including the entire spaceport, within a radius of 10,000 meters, making this area look like it was blocked off by a giant cocoon. The sudden change made Tsing Hui's expression change. Then, Several figures appeared from the battleship at the same time. The leader was Summer, who had fought with Tsing Hui for the mysterious statue back then. "It's you?" Seeing Summer, Tsing Hui's eyes narrowed slightly. This person was the young master of the UNG sect. The UNG sect was a famous first-rate sect in the Heaven Wasteland world. It was said that there were 4 supreme elders in the sect who were at the Almighty level. In addition, their sect master was also at the Almighty level. A sect with 5 Almighties. Such a force could not be said to be weak. Now, the young master of the UNG sect had actually chased him all the way from the Heaven Wasteland world to the East Wasteland world. For a moment, Tsing Hui's heart was filled with warnings. At the same time, he did not hesitate to use the backtracking technique to mark down his current state. At this moment, he could only pin his hopes on the young master's limited status in the UNG sect and that he could not mobilize Almighties who had cultivated divine powers. Otherwise, with the strength of Almighties, even the Golden Core Realm incarnation of the Black Heaven sect master had to stand aside. Fortunately, even though there were a few experts who followed closely behind Xia Qin, the auras of these experts could only be considered ordinary. The strongest of them seemed to be only at the transcendent realm. Something's wrong. After a moment, Tsing Hui seemed to have sensed something. His expression suddenly changed as he looked straight at the middle-aged man standing behind Xia Qin. From the middle-aged man, Tsing Hui could sense a natural aura. It was as if the man's strength had been completely condensed into a single entity, without the slightest leakage. If not for the fact that he was standing right in front of him, Tsing Hui would not have been able to sense his location. This is definitely not as simple as the transcendent state. Tsing Hui's heart trembled, and he did not hesitate to use appraisal. Soon enough, the appraisal skill received a response. Attack level, speed level, and defense level are all around 100, but the defense level hasn't broken through 100 yet. An expert who has just stepped into the Golden Core Realm. Chaotic level, level 3. He has a divine art, but just like how a blue netherworld expert can't manifest a divine art, it's the same for a Golden Core Realm expert. The divine art might allow them to have energy that isn't weaker than a transcendent realm expert, but it won't give them a divine art, so it's not much of a threat. Tsing Hui's originally tense heart was quickly put down as he used appraisal to completely see through the man's information. It's fine as long as there's no almighty expert. Golden Core Realm. With his current ability, he might be able to fight against someone who had just broken through to the Golden Core Realm. Young Master, this child has already reached the transcendent state. While Tsing Hui was sizing up the middle-aged man, Partridge also reported to Xia Qin with a shocked expression. Transcendent state? Xia Qin was slightly startled, then said without hesitation, "That's impossible. This kid just joined Sky Dome 8 years ago. When he joined, he was only in the spirit-refining realm. It's only been 8 years. Even if he has heaven-defying talent, cultivating to the prominent divine realm is already the limit. How can he reach the transcendent state? That's impossible." "It's absolutely true, young master. I've cultivated a secret technique called the Spirit Eye. I can even see through some almighty experts who don't deliberately hide their cultivation, let alone a transcendent state cultivator from the eastern wilderness." After Partridge finished speaking, his gaze fell on Li Hechuan, and he said in a sharp tone, "Isn't this Cho Tsing Hui only in the blue netherworld realm? How did he become a transcendent expert now?" Li Hechuan felt somewhat wronged. "I thought that the young sect master had already investigated Zhuo Qingshu before coming to deal with him. Zhuo Qingshu is an undeniable monster. It is rumored that he is the personal disciple of an almighty in the Sky Vault continent and has received the careful guidance of that personal disciple. As early as when he reached the Vision Domain stage, he was able to safely escape the encirclement of 4 True Energy stage and 8 Vision Domain experts of the Create Evolve Mysterious sect and even killed the 12 Peak experts in one fell swoop. Not long ago, he led the Hunyuan Heaven sect, Golden Crow sect, and Green Lotus Sword sect experts to attack the Create Evolve Mysterious sect, which had several transformative stage experts, dozens of True Energy stage experts, and hundreds of Vision Domain experts. They defeated the Create Evolve Mysterious sect in one fell swoop and turned the #1 sect in the Eastern Wilderness into history. Several Transcendent Stage experts, dozens of True Element Stage experts, and hundreds of prominent Divine Stage experts? Beside him, Xia Tian was shocked. Although he somewhat looked down on the cultivators of a small place like the Eastern Wilderness, he was confident that he could fight against the Golden Core experts of the Eastern Wilderness with the help of the Divine Art. But hundreds of prominent Divine Stage experts, dozens of True Element Stage experts, and several Transcendent Stage experts all swarmed forward. Even a Golden Core expert would have to avoid such a lineup. How could such a powerful force be destroyed by Tsing Hui and his people? This Cho Tsing Hui has grown to such a level in just a few years? It's absolutely true. Not only does Cho Tsing Hui have Transcendent Stage cultivation, but he also has the Golden Crow and the Torch Dragon Divine Body. Moreover, his recovery ability has reached the 10th level, and his Divine Art has reached the 3rd level. His battle prowess is unimaginable. If you hadn't come, I'm afraid that Cho Tsing Hui would have been able to unify the Eastern Wilderness in a month. Li Hechuan hurriedly reported all the information he knew about Tsing Hui. For a moment, Xia Tian, who had thought that it would be easy to kill Tsing Hui, could not help but gasp. 2 Transcendent Stage battle bodies, a 10th level recovery ability, and a 3rd level Divine Art? Damn it. No wonder my incarnation couldn't do anything to you. Xia Tian's eyes were filled with killing intent. However, no matter how talented you are, the Transcendent Stage is still the Transcendent Stage. If we let you grow, you might be able to become a great threat to us. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance. Next year, today will be the anniversary of your death. Partridge, let's attack together and cripple him first. At the same time, be careful and don't give him a chance to commit suicide. I still have to ask him what I want. Yes, young master. Partridge responded in a low voice. Then he leaped down from the warship. At the same time, he shook his right hand, and a chain-like sword appeared in his hand. The sword straightened, and a cold light radiated from the blade. 10 suns burning the heavens. The cultivators of Heaven Wasteland were obviously stronger than the cultivators of Eastern Wasteland. Facing a terrifying figure like Partridge, Tsing Hui did not dare to relax. He quickly used the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. 7 scorching suns rose into the sky and shone in all directions, emitting a vast and resplendent light. At the same time, the Golden Crow Divine Body appeared brazenly and let out a loud cry that shook the void. Sword shaking the heavens dragon. Partridge let out a low cry. The sword that was originally slashing down without the slightest presence suddenly turned into a golden dragon. With a roar, it brought with it a vast might that defied common sense and came crashing down. Golden Core Eruption. This was the Golden Core Eruption. Before Partridge's sword slashed down, there was no smoke or fire on the tip of his sword. At best, it was equivalent to a casual strike from a prominent Divine Stage expert without using his Divine Body. However, the moment the Golden Dragon appeared, the aura on his body and the might that erupted from his sword increased by more than 100 times. In Tsing Hui's vision, the golden sword light turned into a golden waterfall that could split heaven and earth. It carried with it a suffocating and despairing sword pressure that rolled down. For a moment, Tsing Hui felt that his vision was completely filled by the golden sword light. Without any hesitation, Tsing Hui's genuine qi was fully activated. The genuine qi in his body was like a torrent that had opened the floodgates. It madly poured down and poured into the sword light that was condensed under the sharp claws of the Golden Crow Divine Body. Then, it was thrown out and collided head-on with the golden dragon in the void that seemed to be able to split heaven and earth. Sun Glory. Rumble. The Sun Glory sword and Partridge's sword shaking the heavens dragon that erupted with Jindan power collided without any fancy moves. For a moment, a terrifying explosion and dazzling light burst out at the same time. Endless light and flames instantly filled the battlefield that was less than 10,000 meters in diameter. The warship that bore the brunt of the impact was instantly annihilated by the energy shockwave. Even those genuine Qi realm and spirit refining realm cultivators who were responsible for operating the warship had the same fate. They were turned into nothingness on the spot along with the warship. Only a few spirit Qi realm and Qingming realm cultivators who were hiding behind Xia Tian, Li Hechuan, and a group of genuine element realm cultivators were lucky enough to survive. However, their faces were filled with shock. Amidst the violent explosion, a clear voice rippled out from the flames. The next moment, the Sun Glory sword that had always been successful since Tsing Hui had cultivated burst into endless flames in the void. Then, the dazzling flames were torn apart by a dazzling golden light. From behind the sword light, a peerless divine sword carried an unstoppable power and fiercely slashed the body of the Golden Crow divine body. It was as if it was splitting Mount Hua. The Golden Crow divine body, which was hundreds of meters in diameter, was cut in half by the sword. The Golden Crow divine body let out a painful cry. Tsing Hui's face was pale because of the serious injury to his spirit. A face-to-face confrontation. This was the first time that Tsing Hui's Golden Crow divine body was cut down by an enemy in a face-to-face confrontation since he had cultivated a divine-grade battle body. Even if the other party had unleashed his strongest attack with Jindan power. Qing Su immediately bellowed out when he saw how the Golden Crow physique was about to be slain by Partridge's attack. As he absorbed the Golden Crow physique back into his body, the Seraphic Dragon physique appeared as well. Afterwards, a tremendous power completely enveloped the space within 10,000 meters around him with a wonder that seemed like the collapse of the universe. Light sense deprivation. Chapter 448. Someone is fighting in the wondrous mountain range. That's Tsing Hui. Tsing Hui. It's Grand Elder Tsing Hui. Someone is attacking Grand Elder Tsing Hui. Which idiot dares to attack the greatest expert of the Eastern Wilderness, the Great Elder of Qing Su? Is he tired of living? After all, even the last person known as the strongest expert of the Eastern Wilderness, the Ancestor Stone Sword, along with the Lifeless Sword Master and 4 other supreme experts, were defeated by the Great Elder of the Qing ruins alone. Who else in the entire Eastern Wilderness would dare to oppose the Great Elder of the Qing ruins? That's true, but Grand Elder Tsing Hui seems to be at a disadvantage? Not good. Grand Elder Tsing Hui's Golden Crow divine body was destroyed. The enemy is too strong. Although more than half of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the Golden Crow sect, and the Green Lotus Sword sect's experts had retreated, there were still many experts who remained in the wondrous mountain range. The Hunyuan Heaven sect was the main force among them. After all, Qinglan Peak was a part of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and the Hunyuan Heaven sect was very concerned about Qinglan Peak occupying the Create Evolve Mysterious Gate. The profits they gained from the battle were far greater than the other sections. Everyone exclaimed when they saw someone fighting Tsing Hui at the airport. Hunyuan Saint Venerable, Tang Sun, Wen Hui Kuanyang, and the others immediately flew into the sky and looked at the void that seemed to be covered in a cocoon. Their expressions were grave. Is that Li Hechuan of the Shenshao Sword sect? Hunyuan Saint Venerable, who had the highest cultivation and the best eyesight, immediately recognized him, and his pupils shrank. It's indeed Li Hechuan. Beside him, there's a Golden Core expert? Could it be that another Golden Core ancestor of the Shenshao Sword sect has returned from the Heaven Wasteland world? This battleship is clearly the style of the Heaven Wasteland world. Impossible, this Golden Core expert can't be from the Shenshao Sword sect. The spells he used are exquisite and far surpass those of the Shenshao Sword sect. This is an expert from a large sect in the Infinite Wasteland world. Could it be that the Shenshao Sword sect hired a Golden Core expert from the Infinite Wasteland world to interfere with the matters of the Eastern Wasteland world? The Golden Core experts of Heaven Wasteland world. These few words brought a great deal of pressure to everyone present. We can't let Grand Elder Tsing Hui fight alone. Primordial Chaos Holy Master looked at it for a while, and his face darkened. The next moment, he soared into the sky and rushed toward the cocoon with great momentum. The moment he got close to the cocoon, his holy body appeared. Like a meteor, he collided with the cocoon that was tens of thousands of meters in diameter. Buzz! The area attacked by Primordial Chaos' Sacred Master rippled like waves in all directions. Primordial Chaos' Sacred Master's attack didn't even cause the light of the cocoon to dissipate, let alone break it. Damn it! Primordial Chaos' Sacred Venerable sensed the toughness of the flowing light cocoon and his expression turned ugly. This cocoon can only be torn apart by a Golden Core Realm expert's attack. This is a battlefield specially used for Golden Core Realm experts to fight each other to the death. The others also appeared beside Primordial Chaos Saint Master and looked at Xing Hui, who was fighting the mysterious Golden Core expert in the cocoon. Their faces were filled with worry. The battle was still going on inside the cocoon. As a Golden Core expert from the UNG sect, Partridge's combat strength was undeniable. Golden Core experts had a special characteristic, which was that they were extremely powerful at the beginning of the battle. Most Golden Core experts relied on their Golden Core to defeat their targets in an extremely short period of time. Partridge had almost killed Xing Hui's Golden Crow Divine Body with one strike. If Xing Hui hadn't used the Torch Dragon Divine Body at the critical moment and used the light deprivation technique to avoid Partridge's Golden Core attack, his life would have been hanging by a thread. If he only had one battle physique, even if he had a divine-grade battle physique and a transcendent cultivation, he would have been in a life-or-death situation because of his battle physique. However, fortunately, he relied on the Torch Dragon Divine Body to resist the most dangerous time of Partridge's Golden Core attack. As for a Golden Core expert, if he couldn't kill the enemy during the Golden Core attack, then it would be a tug-of-war. A long tug-of-war would last until the enemy was exhausted to death by relying on the Golden Core expert's perfect body that didn't leak any energy. Compared to exhaustion, Xing Hui, who had the 10th level recovery ability, wouldn't be worried about exhausting himself against a Golden Core expert. Damn it! This bastard is already so powerful that even Partridge's Golden Core attack couldn't kill him instantly. He only destroyed one of his divine bodies? Seeing this, Xia Tian's face turned gloomy. At the same time, he knew that he couldn't watch any longer. He knew how terrifying the 10th level recovery ability was. He immediately shouted, "Attack! Attack together! While his Gold Crow Divine Body is broken, all of us should go all out and annihilate him with the pressure of Mount Tai." Li Hechuan thought about how after dealing with the Qingkuan Sacred Land and the 6 Paths of Divines and Demons, the next one Qing Su would deal with would be their Shinshao Sword sect. Without any hesitation at all, when Xia Tian gave the order to attack, he had already roared out and charged out. A Class 10 sword erupted with resplendent light in the air, surging over with a terrifying pressure that reached straight to the soul. Shinshao! At the same time, Xia Tian, the young master of the UNG sect, manifested his divine-grade battle physique, the Kuan Peng. A divine beast, the Kuan Peng. Kill! Huh! After enduring Partridge's Golden Core attack, Xing Hui, who had gradually adapted to his attacks, was shocked when he sensed the momentum of Li Hechuan and Xia Tian's attacks at the same time. A divine-grade battle physique. A divine-grade Kuan Peng battle physique was definitely not weak. If Xing Hui had used his Golden Crow Divine Body, which was good at fighting and could destroy the world, he wouldn't be afraid of facing Xia Tian's Kuan Peng Divine Body head-on. However, the Torch Dragon Divine Body, light deprivation. In the void, the shadow of the Torch Dragon Divine Body once again shuttled between reality and illusion. Then, a vast and majestic power erupted from the Torch Dragon Divine Body, as if it was tearing the universe apart, forming an extremely deep black hole. In one breath, it completely swallowed the minds of Li Hechuan and the True Energy Realm experts who had attacked with Xia Daoyi, causing them to be stunned on the spot. As for Xia Chen's mind, it was also affected. However, as a cool and refreshing feeling surged into his body from a strange necklace-like object, his thoughts immediately recovered. In an instant, he escaped from the strange state of being deprived of his sense of light. After breaking free, Xia Tian roared. The Kuan Peng Divine Body, which carried a vibrating force that could shatter the void, completely enveloped the torch dragon divine body and the space below it. The 8 divisions void. Rumble. Under the bombardment of the 8 divisions void, Tsing Hui felt as if he was a tiny mortal facing the earth-shaking power of heaven and earth. However, unlike an earthquake that came from the ground, this kind of earthquake came from the void. The void shook 8 times in a row, and the shock waves hit the torch dragon divine body and Tsing Hui's body again and again. Even though Tsing Hui was under the protection of the torch dragon divine body, the vibrating force still shattered the space and swept up Tsing Hui's body, causing his internal organs to turn upside down. Countless internal organs and organs were shattered into pieces. Tsing Hui spat out a mouthful of blood. In the face of an attack like the 8 divisions void that was impossible to guard against, even the torch dragon divine body could not completely protect him. As the torch dragon divine body was gradually destabilized by the 8 divisions void, Partridge followed closely behind. The sword in his hand seemed to have turned into a golden waterfall. The moment it attacked Tsing Hui's torch dragon divine body, it let out a long roar that shook the void. 9 Heavens Dragon Roar. The moment the torch dragon divine body was entangled by the golden waterfall, an endless stream of dragon roars swept toward Tsing Hui, continuing to shake Tsing Hui's spirit. Not only was his consciousness shaken, but his internal organs, which had been injured by the 8 divisions void, were once again in turmoil. A large amount of blood seeped out from the surface of his skin. Now's the time, dimensional slash. The moment Tsing Hui's spirit was disturbed, Xia Tian let out another long roar. The Kuan Peng divine body seemed to fall from the 3-dimensional form to the 2-dimensional form. No. It did not fall into the 2nd dimension, but turned into an extremely flat and sharp blade. In an instant, it cut through the torch dragon's divine body. Accompanied by a long and painful cry, the torch dragon's divine body was cut into 2 by Xia Tian, relying on the power of the Kuan Peng's divine body. This method, Tsing Hui let out a muffled groan. Just as the torch dragon divine body was about to be completely destroyed, he suddenly withdrew the torch dragon divine body into his body. At the same time, the flowing light sword shot out and instantly retreated, vainly trying to use the speed of the 9th order flying sword to widen the distance between them. Flying sword? I have one too. Xia Tian let out a cold snort. Not only did he follow closely behind Tsing Hui, but the flying sword he summoned was of the 10th order. In addition, he had cultivated the divine Kuan Peng bloodline, so his speed was simply incredible. In an instant he had already rushed to the front of Tsing Hui. The Kuan Peng divine body's wings burst out with tens of thousands of mysterious lights, each of which seemed to contain the power to cut through the void and tear apart the essence of gold. Once Tsing Hui was cut by these mysterious lights, he would definitely be cut into hundreds or thousands of pieces of flesh in an instant. I can't care so much, Tsing Hui's expression darkened. The golden crow divine body that had not recovered suddenly appeared again, letting out a deafening roar. At the same time, the resplendent eternal power began to condense in front of its sharp claws, and in the next moment, it exploded. The intense heat mixed with the compression of the air continuously rolled in all directions. Even the tens of thousands of mysterious lights that burst out from the Kuan Peng divine body's wings seemed to be burned to ashes by this explosive force. The torch dragon divine body and the Kuan Peng divine body were at a disadvantage, but the golden crow divine body? In a head-on battle, he was not afraid of anyone. Looks like I can only use my last resort. Tsing Hui glanced at the completely sealed space of the cocoon, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. The next moment, a pile of eternal blazing suns appeared in his hand. Not bad. Not just one, it was a pile of them. It was equivalent to more than half of the Jin Wu religion's reserves for hundreds of years. Chapter 449. The Eternal Blazing Sunday. The only way Tsing Hui could break out of this situation was to use the Eternal Blazing Sunday. At other times, while the might of the Eternal Blazing Sun was great, it might not necessarily be able to do anything to Xia Tian, and the others who possessed Class 8, 9, or even Class 10 armor. However, In order to trap Qing Su and prevent them from escaping, Xia Tian and the others had used a special treasure that resembled a cocoon. This special treasure would greatly compress the range of the eternal blazing sun's explosion, condensing the blazing power of the eternal blazing sun's explosion to a radius of 10 kilometers. However, this radius just happened to be within the range of the 10 scorching heavens. The 10 suns burning the heavens was meant to absorb heat and create a powerful domain similar to the Great Sun. The stronger the surrounding heat, the more powerful the E10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique would be, and the more significant the enhancement to the Golden Crow divine body would be. What Xing Hui was doing now was creating a combat domain that completely belonged to the Golden Crow divine body. The eternal blazing sun alone might not be enough. Partridge is a level 13 son of chaos and has a divine art. If he uses a divine art at the Golden Core realm, his cultivation will be pushed to the level of a transcendent realm expert. Even if it's just pure energy, under the control of a transcendent realm expert, he'll still be able to create an attack as powerful as Mount Tai. The best way is to have a divine art of my own, just in case. Xing Hui split a portion of his consciousness and focused on his chaos plane. After dealing with the matter of the void parting continent, he only had a month left to raise his chaos level and prepare for the creation mystical sect for half a month. In addition to the delays caused by the Wuji sword sect, the Qinquan sacred land, and the 6 paths of God and demon, he was only 10 daos away from raising his chaos level. Glancing at the many Dao-carrying items in his personal storage, Xing Hui didn't hesitate to absorb the 10 Dao-carrying items. With the help of the Dao-carrying aura in the Fortune Jade, he raised his chaos level to level 41. Xing Hui didn't have time to worry about the miraculous effects of the backtrack art. He quickly raised his divine art, which had a cooldown of 7 days, to level 4. However, the Tier 4 divine spell did not undergo any changes. Instead, its cooldown decreased from 7 days to 3 days. 3 days was enough for the cooldown to be completed. Boom. 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 Xing Hui summoned the eternal blazing suns and detonated them one after another. This was a powerful killing weapon that the Jin Wu religion used to intimidate the Create Evolve mysterious sect, preventing them from acting rashly. However, not long ago, the Jin Wu religion assisted Xing Hui in attacking the Create Evolve mysterious sect and brought over half of the eternal blazing suns. Because Xing Hui defeated the Create Evolve mysterious sect too quickly, the eternal blazing suns were not put to use. In the end, they fell into Xing Hui's hands and were kept in Xing Hui's personal space. Now, it was time for the eternal blazing sun to show off its might. Amidst the violent explosions, rings of light that were like scorching suns continued to explode. They were mixed with blazing flames that swept out in all directions in a mighty manner. The momentum was so great that it was enough to make any illustrious sage stage, true element stage, or even transformative stage expert's expression change. However, for the young master of the UNG sect of Heaven Wasteland domain, this level of attack was somewhat unsatisfactory. Although the armor that Xia Tian was wearing was not of the 10th grade, it was still of the upper grade of the 9th grade. In particular, when he realized that Xing Hui's attacks were mainly of the fire element, he summoned a rare treasure talisman and integrated it into his genuine chi, causing his genuine chi's fire element attacks to be greatly weakened. The attack of the Golden Crow divine body was one thing, but the scattered explosive attacks like the eternal blazing sun could not do anything to him except make him a little embarrassed by the shock waves formed by the explosion. In just a few moments, Xing Hui had detonated 16 eternal blazing suns in one breath and still did not cause any damage to Xia Tian. Instead, it was Partridge, a gold core stage expert, who retreated repeatedly with an ugly expression. One of the true element stage experts who came with Xia Tian could not dodge in time and was hit by 3 eternal blazing suns consecutively. His battle body was scattered and he was in imminent danger. Damn it, how many of these damn things does he have? Although Xia Tian was not afraid of the eternal blazing suns thrown out by Xing Hui, he was still dizzy from the explosions and immediately cursed in exasperation. Li Hechuan was even more miserable than him. Without enough defensive armor, he had to concentrate 120% of his attention to avoid the impact of the eternal blazing sun's explosions. Otherwise, if he was not careful, he would end up like the true element stage expert. Hearing Xia Tian's words, he smiled bitterly and said, "These eternal blazing suns are things that the Jin Wu religion has accumulated over hundreds of years. The number won't be too little. Even if the number of eternal blazing suns in Tsing Hui's hands is not equal to all the eternal blazing suns in the Jin Wu religion, I estimate that he still has 30 to 40 eternal blazing suns." 30 to 40 eternal blazing suns. This number made Xia Tian want to curse out loud. Who invented such a ridiculous thing? Although he was disgusted by the eternal blazing suns, there was nothing he could do about it. The threat of the eternal blazing suns was not great to him, but it could not be said to be ignored. Especially when several eternal blazing suns exploded at the same time, if he dared to resist it, even the fire-resistant treasure on his body would not be able to protect him. Therefore, while cursing, he was also quickly dodging and looking for an opportunity to get close to Tsing Hui again, in a futile attempt to kill him in one fell swoop. "Young sect master, we can't go on like this. According to Li Hechuan, this kid has a 10th order recovery ability. There is no doubt about the strength of the 10th order recovery ability. If we let him continue to use the eternal blazing suns to tangle with us and recover his strength, I'm afraid that in half an hour we will face Cho Tsing Hui at his peak. At that time, I will use my Jindan to break his golden crow divine body and completely recover." On the other hand, Partridge, who was at the side, deeply understood the strength of Tsing Hui's golden crow divine body and immediately reminded him. Tier 10 recovery ability. Xia Chen's heart trembled. After a moment, he gritted his teeth and said, "I'll go and resist his eternal blazing Sunday. You take the opportunity to kill him. Even if you can't kill him, you have to severely injure his golden crow divine body." "Alright, don't worry, young sect master. Even though my golden core power has already erupted once, I can still choose to use our UNG sect's UNG breaking technique to simulate the way my golden core erupts. Even though I won't be able to use my golden core power for the next year or two, as long as I can defeat this brat and obtain that supreme divine object for young sect master, this little sacrifice is nothing." Spirit breaking technique. Xia Tian's heart sank. He was very familiar with the top scorer technique. The golden elixir of a golden elixir realm expert was a special state after the solidification of his true essence. The stronger the golden elixir, the stronger the divine powers that would be born in the future. Therefore, this was a realm that consumed a lot of energy. It was said that the few top geniuses who had reached the level of being able to birth divine powers were unwilling to break through to the almighty realm. This was because they wanted to make their golden elixir stronger, in hopes that they would be able to birth great divine powers, or even supreme divine powers. The UNG breaking technique was, in fact, the same as breaking down the solidified true yuan. Even though it could greatly improve a golden core expert's strength, it would harm his cultivation. According to the strength of the true yuan that was broken down, it would take 1 or 2 years, or even more than 10 years, to recover the lost true yuan. If one was careless, the golden core would lose its stability and could even collapse, leading to chi deviation and death. Xia Tian didn't want a loyal old servant like Partridge to ruin his own future, but in order to defeat Tsing Hui, he had to make this choice. "Alright, Partridge, don't worry. Once I sit on the throne of the UNG sect master, you will be my greatest hero." "It's my honor," Partridge said respectfully. Xia Tian didn't try to dodge Tsing Hui's eternal blazing Sunday. Instead, he roared and used the power of the Kuan Peng divine body to tear apart the power of the eternal blazing Sunday. Meanwhile, the Partridge followed behind Summer, constantly launching attacks at Qing Su. Even Li Hechuan seemed to understand that this battle concerned the survival of the Shenshao sword sect. Therefore, he didn't care about the danger of getting close to the explosion of the eternal blazing Sunday. Instead, he tried to get close to Tsing Hui and find a chance to kill him in one strike. Rumble. The violent explosions continued. When Tsing Hui threw out nearly 30 eternal blazing suns in one go, he suddenly stopped. Seeing this, Xia Tian's eyes lit up with joy. No more, he doesn't have this thing called the Eternal Blazing Sunday Descend, Void Prison. As Tsing Hui stopped using the Eternal Blazing Sun, Xia Tian's Void Prison followed closely. For a moment, the Kuan Peng divine body spread its wings and soared, as if it had become the ruler of the void. With Tsing Hui as the center, a powerful binding force formed within a 1,000-meter radius of Tsing Hui, causing him to stop. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Partridge let out a long howl and used his top scorer technique and divine technique. The true yuan in his body suddenly surged, just like when he used the power of the golden core. No, it was even stronger than when he used the power of the golden core. The golden chain seemed to be the embodiment of the laws of heaven and earth. It turned into a peerless golden dragon, roaring loudly and carrying a dragon's roar that shook the heavens and earth. It went straight for Tsing Hui's weak golden crow divine body. Sword shakes the heavenly dragon. At the same time as Partridge's attack, Tsing Hui's divine technique, which was at the 4th level, was also suddenly activated. The golden crow divine body, which was originally extremely weak, burst into flames, like a dim sun releasing its last glory and glory. For a moment, even the light of the sun in the sky was overshadowed. Not for the sake of stealing, but the 7 blazing suns in the sky erupted at the same time as the golden crow divine body. The eruption of the eternal power of the 30 blazing suns, in addition to the previous heavy injuries and dispersal of the golden crow divine body, had already allowed the 10 sun-burning immortals technique to absorb enough power. At this moment, all the power poured down like 7 torrents of flames, feeding back into the golden crow divine body. As the 7 blazing suns in the void dimmed, the power of the golden crow divine body, which could be said to be radiant, skyrocketed again. The golden flames and the figure wandering in the golden flames seemed to leap out of the endless flames. Sun glory! Just like the previous head-on collision, the resplendent sun and the golden dragon that cut down the sky brazenly collided in the sky once again. Chapter 450. Rumble. A light so intense that no one could look directly at it suddenly erupted from the golden cocoon. Even Primordial Chaos Holy Master, Tang Sun, Wen Hui, Kuan Yang, and the others who were outside the golden cocoon were shocked by the terrifying torrent that filled the heavens and earth. This power, has already surpassed the golden core stage and is faintly approaching the level of a great golden core stage expert. You must win. Grand Elder Tsing Hui has created countless miracles. This time, a miracle will appear on him again. The honor and disgrace of our Green Lotus Sword sect depends on this battle. If Grand Elder Tsing Hui is defeated, the resource points that our Green Lotus Sword sect has occupied during this period will inevitably attract countless powerful enemies. When that time comes, we won't be able to defend these places with our ability and will have to give them away time and time again. Everyone stared intently at the golden cocoon. It was so dazzling that no one could look directly at it. Everyone's hearts tightened. When Huey's eyes were wide open, and his heart seemed to jump into his throat. Whether the Green Lotus Sword sect would fall or soar into the sky would depend on the result of this battle. Caw! Just as the endless flames had yet to completely disperse, a loud and clear cry suddenly came from the flames. Immediately after, a huge golden crow that was more than twice as dim as before, but still contained a terrifying power, was burning with the blazing grand sun primordial fire. It ruthlessly grabbed a figure in its hand. As the figure screamed in pain, the grand sun primordial fire erupted and burned it to ashes. It's that guard! It's that golden core stage guard! He won! He won! Grand Elder Tsing Hui won! Grand Elder Tsing Hui killed that golden core stage expert. After seeing the figure that had been burned to ashes, the Jin Wu religion, Green Lotus Sword sect, Hunyuan Heavenly sect, and the others couldn't help but cheer at the same time. Inside the golden cocoon, the junior sect master of the UNG sect let out an unwilling scream. No! How could this be? Damn it! Li Huchuan's face was sunken as well. However, he seemed to sense something very soon. He stared at Qing Su's body of the golden crow that had completely dimmed after unleashing another round of true fire of the Grand Sun, and his eyes immediately lit up. Young master, Zhuo Qingshu is already at the end of his rope. Let's attack together and not give him any time to catch his breath. We'll definitely be able to kill him while he's still unable to use his body of the golden crow. Xia Tian, who had a pained expression on his face, was slightly startled. He carefully stared at Tsing Hui for a moment and immediately saw through the nature of Tsing Hui's strong appearance. When Partridge used his spirit-breaking technique and divine technique, how powerful was his attack? Even though Tsing Hui was able to block that blow, his body was also extremely weak. This could be seen from the dim and lifeless body of the gold crow. As long as he could kill him before he recovered, thinking of this, the pain in Xia Xia's eyes immediately turned ferocious. Kill! Kill him! Avenge Guard Partridge! As he roared, his Kunping divine body slashed down again. Sharp blades that seemed to be formed from the power of space shot out from the gold crow, turning into mysterious light that almost merged with the laws of space. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to see any trace of it even if they wanted to. However, although this kind of space-like attack was mysterious, it was still just a space-cutting attack. In reality, they were just compressing the energy to the limit to create this kind of space-cutting effect. With almost no Zhenyuan left in his body, Tsing Hui, who was completely supporting the gold crow divine body, didn't dare to face this space-cutting power head-on. With a flip of his hand, a total of 10 eternal blazing suns appeared and were thrown out by him. For a moment, the cocoon space, which had been somewhat dim because of the power of the 7 blazing suns, once again lit up with an intense radiance that made people unable to look directly at it. The explosion made Xia Tian and Li Hechuan, who wanted to take advantage of Tsing Hui's weakness to kill him, dizzy. While using the eternal blazing suns to bombard Xia Tian, Li Hechuan, and the few guards who came with Xia Tian, Tsing Hui was also constantly using the power of the 10 burning heavens, converting the blazing power of the flames into the power of the sun. Then, through the method of illumination, it penetrated the gold crow divine body, causing the originally empty shell of the gold crow divine body to gradually solidify. In addition to the 10 burning heavens immortal technique, his 10th order recovery ability was also continuously producing effects at this time. Inside his body, which was almost at the end of its rope, streams of Zhenyuan were constantly being generated. In front of the special energy vortex of the endless realm, it was constantly expanding, multiplying and multiplying endlessly. After 10 breaths, Tsing Hui threw out the last of the eternal blazing suns on his body. His Zhenyuan had recovered by 20 to 30%. 20 to 30% might still be unable to suppress Xia Tian and Li Hechuan, but if it was just entanglement, it was more than enough. Li Hechuan joined forces with Xia Tian and a few other true element realm experts to continuously surround and kill Tsing Hui. Powerful attacks continued to wreak havoc in the golden silkworm space, but as time passed, not only did Tsing Hui not weaken, he became stronger and stronger. Originally, he had only recovered 20 to 30% of his true essence, but after an hour of bitter fighting, he had already recovered 40 to 50%. If this continued, in another 2 to 4 hours, Tsing Hui would probably be able to recover to his peak state. At that time, the only thing waiting for them would be death. 10th stage recovery. 10th stage recovery. Is this the power of the 10th stage recovery ability? The more Li Hechuan fought, the more desperate he became. At the beginning, they were still able to beat Tsing Hui to the point where he couldn't retaliate at all and could only rely on hiding to survive. But now, he was actually able to gradually counterattack, and the strength of his counterattack was getting stronger and stronger. But on the other hand, this transcendent realm expert, the strength in his body had yet to reach the level of endless growth, and after an hour of bitter fighting, his true essence was already somewhat exhausted. Damn it, although the 10th stage recovery ability is powerful, it's not like I've never seen it before, but it's definitely not to this extent. His current recovery state is not only at the 10th stage, but also at the 11th, 12th, or even the 15th or 20th stage. In terms of true essence recovery, ordinary cultivators with the 10th stage recovery ability are probably not even half, or even 1/3, of his. Xia Tian, the young sect master of the UNG sect, felt more and more aggrieved as the fight went on. Unless he could kill this kind of cockroach-level monster with full recovery ability with one slap, when the two sides entered a stalemate, the victor was already decided. There's no chance of winning if we continue fighting like this. Xia Tian also felt a wave of regret. If he had known that Xing Hui would grow so quickly, he wouldn't have brought along such loyal subordinates in order to keep it a secret. If he could have brought a few more Golden Elixir Realm experts, why would he be like this? In fact, even if he didn't bring enough Golden Elixir Realm experts, if they didn't encounter the attacks of sea beasts and birds on the way, causing him to use the original extreme sword talisman that his father gave him to save his life, he wouldn't be in such a sorry state. Ultimate Sword Talisman. That was a terrifying talisman that could instantly kill an ordinary Golden Elixir Realm expert. Unfortunately, there weren't so many ifs. Looking at Xing Hui, who had recovered a little, even though Xia Tian was unwilling, he could only growl, "Let's go." In the next moment, he waved his hand, and the golden ginseng cocoon that had been imprisoning this space immediately retracted and was directly absorbed into his body. He turned around and left. Go. The victor hasn't been decided yet. How can we just leave like this? Xing Hui's voice sounded from behind Xia Tian, and then his figure moved forward. The golden crow divine body swept out a mighty and blazing torrent of destruction. In the blink of an eye, it had already swept up a slower true energy realm guard. Under the burning of the Grand Sun True Fire, this true energy realm guard couldn't even hold on for a breath before being burned to ashes. Cho Xing Hui. Seeing that Cho Xing Hui actually dared to chase after him, Xia Tian let out an angry roar and suddenly turned around again. The Kuan Peng divine body appeared, and a round of dimensional slash tore down, once again forcing Xing Hui to quickly retreat. However, when he forced Xing Hui to retreat and was about to turn around and leave, Xing Hui once again entangled him. The golden crow divine body whistled and almost swept another true energy realm expert into the flames. Bastard! Seeing that Xing Hui didn't fight and only harassed as much as possible, Xia Tian was extremely furious. He coldly said to the true energy realm guards beside him, "You guys go first, I'll bring up the rear. If I want to leave, this kid won't be able to stop me." Under Li Huchuan's lead, the various true energy realm experts abruptly left the group and were about to leave. But at that moment, Primordial Chaos Saint, Tang Sun and the others, who had been watching from afar, quickly surrounded Li Huchuan and the others and quickly blocked their path. "Since you're here, why are you in such a hurry to leave?" Just like our great elder Xing Hui said, it won't be too late to leave after the victor has been decided. Li Huchuan's face darkened when he saw that Primordial Chaos Saint dared to bring people to intercept him. Primordial Chaos Saint, don't make a mistake. These people are important figures from the Primordial sect of Heaven Wasteland World. If your Primordial Heaven sect wants to get involved in this mess, be careful not to bring disaster to your Primordial Heaven sect. Is that so, Primordial sect? What an amazing name. I wonder how the Primordial sect compares to the Heaven sect? Primordial Chaos Saint sneered, not afraid at all. "You?" Li Huchuan's face revealed a trace of sullenness. Only now did he realize that the person who was entangled with Xia Tian was the personal disciple of Venerable Zhuzhao. No matter how amazing the Primordial sect was, how could it compare to Venerable Zhuzhao, who stood at the peak of the Eastern Wasteland World? Swish! Just as the two battlefields were in a deadlock, a flying magical artifact at the end of the horizon tore through the void and quickly flew over with an ear-piercing whistle. Not long after, it stopped at one side of the two battlefields. As the flying magic tool came to a stop, a graceful figure with a long sword on his back stepped out of the flying magic tool. Even though he only appeared and did nothing, he attracted everyone's attention in an instant. Chapter 451. What a fast-flying Dharma artifact. When this flying Dharma artifact flew over, there was an ear-piercing sonic boom. This is definitely a level 10 flying Dharma artifact. The most powerful flying Dharma artifact in the entire Eastern Wilderness is in the Create Evolve Mysterious sect, and its level is only level 7. This flying Dharma artifact style is completely different from our Eastern Wilderness. Could it be someone from Heaven Wasteland again? Could it be that the battle with the sea beasts has really ended, and our Eastern Wilderness has been sealed off from the outside world for hundreds of years? This mysterious man. He looks ordinary, but why do I feel uneasy when I look at him? It's as if I've met my most terrifying enemy. The experts of the three sects looked at the man who appeared on the flying Dharma artifact in amazement. However, when Xia Tian, who was furiously chasing after Qing Su, turned around and glanced at the man who had walked down from the flying arcane artifact, she immediately became frightened out of her wits. She paled as if she had seen a ghost. A broken sword? Broken sword of the sky. Senior brother Broken Sword? Xing Hui, who was fighting with Xia Tian while recovering his true yuan, also heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Broken Sword. Broken Sword, who was sent by esteemed Zhu Zhao to lead him to Heaven Wasteland, had finally arrived. Broken Sword understood the situation in front of him at a glance, and without any delay, he directly attacked. He didn't use any great divine power or any brilliant techniques. He just reached out and grabbed Xia Tian. The giant hand formed by his true yuan directly enveloped Xia Tian. Broken Sword, you can't do this to me. You're an almighty, you can't attack me. Xia Tian roared, and the Kunpeng divine body suddenly appeared. She didn't even have the courage to fight, and flapped her wings to escape as fast as she could. Unfortunately, it was useless. The giant hand formed by the Broken Sword seemed to have completely grasped the space within a radius of several thousand meters. Xia's Kunpeng divine body appeared and wanted to escape, but not only did it not rush out of the range of the Broken Sword's palm, but it also seemed to have taken the initiative to fall into the hand of the Broken Sword's giant energy hand. With a sudden shake of the giant hand, the Kunpeng divine body, which was strong enough to fight against the Golden Crow divine body, was actually crushed into pieces by him. It exploded into a torrent of energy that swept out in all directions. Xia Tian's face turned pale because her Kunpeng divine body was destroyed, and blood flowed out of the corner of her mouth. Young master! The true Yuan realm experts in the distance shouted was terrified, and they all rushed over to save Xia Tian without fear of death. However, before the Broken Sword, there was a huge difference between the true energy realm and the divine ability realm. He did not even bother to look at them. With a flick of his finger, streams of sword chi shot out from his fingertip. They pierced through space like laser beams, killing several true energy realm experts in a single stroke. Sword was Broken Sword. Sword was Broken Sword of Sword. Broken Sword? Broken Sword. Broken Sword? Broken Sword. Broken Sword was Sword? Ah, Primordial Chaos Holy Master glanced at Li Hechuan, whose head had been shot by the sword chi. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't say a word in the end. Since he found out that Xing Hui was most likely the disciple of an almighty in Heaven Dome, he had done his research on many experts in Heaven Dome. Naturally, he knew Master Zhu Zhao's talented disciple very well. He was a real peerless genius. He only took 300 years to become an almighty. Of course, based on the current situation, perhaps he was slightly inferior to the monstrous geniuses of Qing ruins, but advancing from the Golden Elixir realm to the Transcendent realm was a long process. Unless one only wanted to cultivate the most common transcendent art, no one could do it in one go, even if they had a divine-grade battle body and a divine-grade vital essence foundation. Therefore, although Xing Hui had shown amazing progress in the longevity realm, True Yuan realm, and Transcendent realm, if one were to say that he would become an almighty in 300 years, no one had the confidence to do so. Is this the technique of an almighty? Xing Hui was still recalling the technique that Broken Sword had used to capture Xia Tian alive. When the Broken Sword had captured Xia Tian alive, it hadn't used much energy. In fact, it was slightly inferior to the true essence that Partridge had used when he had used his gold core. However, when he had used his palm to capture Xia Tian, it had seemed to contain an indescribable Tao rhythm. Everything had seemed so natural and natural. It seemed to involve the use of a higher level of power. Is it sword momentum? Xing Hui muttered to himself and looked at Broken Sword with a hint of surprise. Sword momentum. That was the foundation of a realm. And a realm was the foundation of a divine. If one could cultivate sword momentum, the probability of entering the divine realm was 20% or even 30%. It was no wonder that everyone in the firmament realm held Broken Sword in such high esteem. Even the firmament master had enviously said more than once that Master Zhu Zhao had a successor. Senior brother Broken Sword. Xing Hui's thoughts were in turmoil, but he didn't slow down. He quickly stepped forward and bowed to Broken Sword. Junior brother Xing Hui, there's no need to be so polite. We'll soon be a family. There's no need for these formalities. Broken Sword smiled at Xing Hui while sizing him up. Looking at the battle between junior brother Xing Hui and this kid, junior brother's true ability is even more amazing than I thought. It seems that you only need to return to Heaven Wasteland and let Master train you a little. Then you'll naturally condense a golden elixir and prepare to break through to the divine realm in the future. I'm only at the transcendent realm now. There's still a never-ending realm before I reach the golden elixir realm. The never-ending realm may be a bit troublesome, but with Master's personal guidance, it's nothing. It's just a matter of time. As long as you have the heart, you'll be able to break through, even if it's the golden elixir realm. As Broken Sword spoke, he glanced at Xia Tian, the young master of the UNG sect, who he had captured alive. What's going on? If I'm not wrong, he should have used a technique of the UNG sect on Heaven Wasteland. Xing Hui nodded. This kid is the young master of the UNG sect. I don't know his name, but his nickname in the Chaos Temple is Xia Tian. He was originally a member of Heaven Dome, but later he betrayed us in order to obtain a supreme divine item left behind by Senior Bei Shao. After failing to snatch that divine item, he traveled thousands of miles to the Eastern Barren Territory in an attempt to capture me alive and force that supreme divine item out. Supreme divine item? The supreme divine item in the hands of Senior Bei Shao? Broken Sword was slightly startled. Hearing that Broken Sword had actually heard of this item, Xia Tian immediately laughed bitterly. Ha, you've also heard of this rumor. However, it's the supreme divine item in the hands of Bei Shao. I don't need to explain how valuable that supreme divine item is. Broken Sword, that supreme divine item is currently in the hands of Chou Xing Hui. Why don't you just capture him alive and force him to reveal the location of that supreme divine item? Once you can obtain that supreme divine item, with your talent, even the divine realm will be within your reach. Bang! Before Xiachen could finish his words, the Broken Sword had already struck him fiercely on the head, knocking him unconscious. After knocking Xia Tian unconscious, Broken Sword turned his gaze to Xing Hui and explained, recently, the UNG sect has been investigated to be extremely close to the Heavenly Tao. The two seem to have secretly colluded together, but there's no evidence. Now that I've captured the young master of the UNG sect, I'll investigate it later and see if the collusion between the UNG sect and the Creation Mysterious sect is true or false. As he spoke, he didn't mention the supreme divine item in Bei Zhao's hands at all. Obviously, with his status, he wouldn't do such a thing as snatching a junior's treasure. Xing Hui nodded. Senior brother Broken Sword, just deal with it as you see fit. Ha, that's good. I came nearly a month early. How are your matters in the Eastern Barren Territory going? I'm afraid I'll need another half a month. When Xing Hui heard this, he was somewhat troubled. That's easy. I'll wait for you for a month. After Broken Sword finished speaking, he smiled at Xing Hui and said, Come, Xing Hui, this is the first time we're meeting. I've brought you a gift. Let's see if you like it. With that, he turned around and walked towards his flying magic artifact. Senior brother, you don't have to do this. Xing Hui wanted to refuse, but Broken Sword had already turned into a flying magic artifact. He could only step forward and follow Broken Sword into his flying magic artifact. Broken Sword's flying magic artifact was extremely large. It was double the size of Xing Hui's Holy Winged Dragonhawk. The space inside was estimated to be 160 square meters, and everything needed for daily life was available. It seemed that this senior brother Broken Sword wasn't too harsh on him in terms of living. "Come, Tsing Hui, come and see my gift for you," Broken Sword said to Tsing Hui and beckoned for Tsing Hui to come closer, as if he wanted to show something from the room. However, just as Tsing Hui was about to step forward to see what was hidden in the room, Broken Sword suddenly made a move, and a strange force smashed into Tsing Hui's brain. Immediately, Tsing Hui felt his brain rumble, his soul leave his body, and his consciousness dissipated at this moment. The most obvious effect of his consciousness dissipating was that he had completely cut off his connection with the Chaos Temple. Senior brother Broken Sword. The moment his consciousness dissipated, Tsing Hui's heart was filled with grief. He couldn't believe that Broken Sword, the most outstanding disciple of Master Zhu Zhao, would do such a thing. "Please cooperate with the operation. Junior brother Tsing Hui, please don't be impatient." There was a faint smile on Broken Sword's face. At this time, Xia Xia also woke up. Looking at Broken Sword, who had beaten Tsing Hui to the point where he couldn't condense his mind, he widened his eyes in shock. Why aren't you running?" Broken Sword said. Although Xia Xia didn't know what was going on, he still had a chance to survive and escaped immediately. Primary Extreme Sword Talisman. Almost at the moment he rushed out of the flying magic artifact, a violent explosion spread out from the flying magic artifact. Under Broken Sword's disguise, the flying magic artifact was completely devoured. What's going on? Xia Xia was dumbfounded. Primary Extreme Sword Talisman? He had already used it. Die. However, before Xia Xia could think about it, a destructive force had already swept out from behind him. Under his shocked gaze, he was crushed into pieces. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.